Welcome, everybody. Before we begin our adventures proper, as always, I encourage you to check out all of our sponsors and partners that help support the Two Perception Show. We have a great number of friends now down through the scroller beneath me, and we've got partner codes for nearly all of them that can help you guys get some discounts, whether it's off some sick Norse Foundry dice or some of the assets in the Arkan Forge map-making software / cool virtual tabletop for a hybrid setup like we're doing, and the Sirenscapes, fantastic sounds, but obviously Paizo that made every single part of the adventure that we're actually going on, from the quest for the Frozen Flame itself to the entire Pathfinder Second Edition game system. Thank you for sponsoring us and having us on your channel.
And Eldritch Foundry.
And our new guys.
Eldritch Foundry with our new minis, right? The new one. It's so like automatic.
Give us.
We used to
Once I
make
rattle
like
off,
a checklist.
I have it in front of me. It's just so like I got my
That would involve looking.
like bang Norse Foundry, bang Arkan Forge, bang Sirenscape, bang Paizo. I'm like, we got the new guys with the Eldritch Foundry
Banging
minis as well, who have a
things.
great discount and some fantastic resin.
They're so beautiful.
Not as
They
in,
have
like,
resin that doesn't explode into shards.
Yeah, they have like
wrong.
resin with any degree of resiliency.
That was crazy.
It's great. You know what's way better than the spindly bits of your model just snapping off and exploding into a jillion pieces?
Ice cream?
Bending a little bit.
I thought you were
Fascinating,
going to
really.
say, like,
So
when
not
you're
ice
working
cream?
with a model and one of the parts is unnecessarily sharp and you stab yourself on it.
That's also a thing that has definitely happened. I mean, the faction that I chose in a particular tabletop war game was very, very in tune with the stabby bits all over the minis, and it was a huge
Mine
fan.
too.
I played
But-
one with pewter models, actually, with that also had a spiky
I
aesthetic
too
to them.
remember pewter models. Not fondly. I don't think anybody does.
Nope.
They were horrible.
Yup.
But the great resin here got a little flexibility goes a long way. They are very
They-
resilient and they are fantastically detailed.
They resonate with
But-
us.
With our first two shows here in season 2 of The Hook, we have laid the groundwork, made our preparations, gone through the requisite rituals to prepare for the Night of the Green Moon, an annual festival for the broken tusks that you will all have experienced numerous times throughout your lives. But this one in particular is of great importance to you specifically, as it is the night that denotes the group of you, along with a couple of others, as full-fledged members of the Tusks, full broken Tusks. You are no longer children. You are no longer just hangers-on. You are all now as much a Tusk as any other, as much as the Mammoth Lords themselves. It's not necessarily like a rite of adulthood kind of thing, but it is in a lot of ways very much analogous.
Can I have like a baby mammoth? Like a mammoth?
You can go find one.
Okay.
And get it away from its parents.
Yeah.
He might like me.
Probably easier to actually just take the adult mammoth. The baby mammoth is like all the difficulty of taking an adult mammoth with a massively increased chance of death, I'd assume. And a continuous problem forever.
If you get the adult, the baby comes with it.
What is that, like a
I think
2-for-1
that works
sale?
both ways, actually.
Yeah.
No,
But
because
better
if you
that-
get the baby, you have to deal with the adult first. And you might not get the adult, but if you capture the adult, the baby's just like,
don't
I
think-
guess I'm coming.
I don't think you
Probably.
capture him. I think you have to like make friends with him.
I don't think that, like,
The baby doesn't have a choice. The baby has to follow the adult.
Maybe not.
I
He
guess
could be a
that's
rebel.
fair. But as we left off last week, the group of you were coming back from gathering baskets of ceremonial water from the Gornok River, some hours' journey away from the camp. And
And getting partially melted.
you are not in the greatest state. Though certainly you would have been able to take some time to use your simple triage, your field medicine, your herbs, and your poultices to touch yourselves up somewhat. That is not going to fully recover getting most of your chest melted off, or, you know, getting large portions of your entire body disintegrated by repeated blasts of acid from a very, it's not even angry method, it's just nuisance.
Just hate. It just
Stupid. It was a stupid thing. is what
Stupid,
it
a
was.
very stupid method.
don't like
stupid
it.
method.
So as the group of you struggle your way back to the following's camp, we begin our session as the sun is near setting, maybe an hour and a half of daylight left, the eve of the festival.
Verja, I want you to know that I have now survived three near-death experiences, which is 2 more than you. Which means that in this contest of almost dying, I am most certainly winning.
Wouldn't that mean that I'm doing better because I've never gotten close?
And no, because I've kind of glimpsed the afterlife.
Stop, both of you.
This is unnecessary.
This is a dumb thing to compete on. Don't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Almost
Don't.
dying.
Please, Henry, please don't be upset.
I didn't do that. That was all you.
I didn't mean to get hurt. I didn't want him to hurt you.
It's not your fault. It lied to all of us, and we went along with it because I guess we're dumb.
We're not dumb. We were trying to do the right thing because that's how we were brought
We
up.
all knew it was dumb. We all knew it was dumb. I knew it was dumb. We were being polite. We shouldn't do that. Being polite gets you killed.
Okay.
Almost gets
I
you
won't be
killed.
polite anymore.
How about the next time water talks to us? We are a little more skeptical at the very least.
But it's so wet.
And it burned you.
It
a lot.
does.
I don't understand how water can burn you.
Around this time, as you reach the outskirts of your camp here, Hanwi and Aram in particular, not just looking like they've gone through hell on the scale of injuries, but also as if they spent that entire visit rolling around in a pig pen with several pigs who were having a wonderful time.
This flower is so dumb. I really hope that they can make some use of it back there. It's a flower that attracts dirt. What's the stupidest flower ever?
Hanwi, it's okay. You gotta calm down. I'm fine. He'll give you a little kiss on the cheek.
What?
I just wanted to let you know that I'm okay and that I care about you and that I'm glad it was me and not you.
Hanwi, you got a little dirt right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I need to go.
What is going on?
Still
back
got the
there?
water back, so
I gotta go.
So, like, as you're coming in, between every aspect of your current physical appearance and your return with these great baskets of water, one of the mammoth lords comes by, takes notice, and heading over from the moose house, Natka, the healer.
Hi, Natka.
Just gonna hold up the goose.
Oh,
He did it.
that is... I am surprised you were able to walk the journey back from the river. This must have taken much strength.
Yeah.
But I do not imagine. I've certainly never heard of a Loblaby capable of inflicting such injuries.
It had
What?
it had friends.
It
Friend.
was a
Did
method.
it tackle you into a
Oh,
trough
that's
alongside
this.
the river?
Here, flower. It's a stupid flower that's magical, but it attracts dirt, and we hate it. But I hope you can do something with it.
It was part of this story that I think grandfather told me when I was a kid, but I can't exactly remember what part of
Throtas
story.
Inami. And you see her kind of glance up, acknowledging, still listening, but start studying this flower with a faint
It was at the side of the
golden
river.
glow across her fingertips with the other hand. This. Where did you find this? At the Gornok River?
Yeah.
Pile of mud.
It was a Mephit and that goose were trying to get us to do stupid things, and well,
Succeeded.
they kind of succeeded, and they almost killed me. But we were just trying to be helpful, and I was just trying to protect my friends.
This flower bears within it a surprising amount of natural magic.
Yeah, we got that much.
But it seems to be a part of its existence. It was not imparted by a priest or a traveling magi. It is a flower, simply born as much of magic as it is of the soil.
Could it be helpful for medicine?
It is interesting. I would like to study it, if you would allow me to take to relieve you of it.
Of course.
You believe it is responsible for your state, not your injuries.
No, but the dirt, yeah.
It seems to attract it. It was growing out of a mud puddle, a really big one.
I think it caused the mud puddle rather than it growing out of the mud puddle.
It seems like it is very much possible. And she clenches her hand, the glow kind of goes away. I believe this to be a flower that is the subject of many of Harik's stories, but not one that any of us will have seen in our lifetimes, certainly.
Known.
I'm curious if it is one that Grandfather Sven has ever seen before.
Well, he's the one who told me the story.
I will take it to Harik. I think she will appreciate it and perhaps be able to find a use for it, if it is nothing further than a place on her mantle or in a ceremonial wreath. But before that, you are in surprisingly good spirits, given what appear to be terrible wounds. You, Hanwi, was it you who tended to Aram?
As best I could.
And you have taken well to your studies.
Thank you.
These injuries appear to have been crippling, perhaps even mortal.
They would have been.
I didn't know if he was going to wake up.
And take pride in your work, for this is surely a great test, and on the eve of the Green Moon,
Thank you,
Wonders.
Hanwi.
speaks volumes as to your aptitude and your place or skills for the following.
I'm sure I still have a long way to go, but thank you for your praise.
We all do, but I say this with no small weight. This is impressive. If you will come back to the moose tent with me, I would like to, well, at least apply some amount of my magics to the pair of you before you go.
If you could.
Thank you.
It certainly
would be
takes
great.
precedence over this flower, however interesting it may be.
You got some stuff here now. I'm sorry.
It is an interesting sort, this thing. And she would even in just this couple of minutes, just little bits, little smudges starting to kind of appear. You never really see them form. You just sort of hits a threshold perhaps where you notice that there is something on her face or a little bit of a stain on her furs.
Before we all separate, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for my life. I would not have gotten out of that if it had not been for all of you, so thank you.
It's not a big deal.
There will be much time for this. The evening is yet young. The evening's meal has not even yet been prepared. The meat is still stewing. Please,
Yum.
you must be in pain.
Let's go.
That and I really need a bath.
I will not hold you from that once I have tended to the worst of your wounds.
Of course.
And Nocta turns and heads back towards the Moose House tent, assumedly with the two of you following, leaving Verja and Ozash to whatever it is they wish to follow up. The two of you, though a bit singed as well, a bit singed, perhaps an understatement. 12 points of acid damage to any level 1 characters is going to be a degree of injured, but you are visibly much better off than Hanwi and Aram. And certainly your appearance not enhanced by this, well, what looks like years of grime and filth. What are you two doing? Where would you be going?
I'm going to return to my tent and probably tend to my wounds and meditate on some things in preparation of the festival.
Now, thankfully, I started that combat in rage, so I even had my temp HP.
Oh, so you're looking much better. How much do you get in level 1? Like
Only 4.
Still decent. That's a
good
third
chunk
of
of
it off.
change,
That's
yeah.
a chunk that's been mitigated for sure.
It's like
But,
25%
I
of my
don't
health.
honestly look that bad at all. Maybe a few
A
burn
little
marks on
burnt.
my
Your
arms.
armor surely caught most of it.
But
Superficial.
somebody has to take all the water and go deliver it. So I'm gonna start working on ferrying all these big containers.
After about 15 minutes or so, with the water all stashed up where it needed to be, placed in a row not far from the central bonfire at the middle of the camp, near a great many other packed and prepped supplies that are going to be carried out by the following as you all travel to Rockloom tomorrow evening. Hanwi and Aram would emerge from the moose tent, looking much better. Nocta is not God. There is definitely still a decent amount of clearly visible acid scarring, especially across Aram, who may bear that for some time, if not the rest of his days. But you look notably better. You would have had some time, certainly, to clean up while you were in there. She would have assisted you with that as well. She can't really tend to you while you're caked in mud and filth. You would be much better off. And the three of you, I imagine, would come out into this central grounds around the same time. Ozosh, while you are doing your preparations in the Otter House tent here, you would see that during this time of the evening, especially with so much to be done, you have already done your task for the day, and it was an arduous one to be certain. But there are not many resting within here. Urgula would actually be one of the only figures left inside the tent with you as you rested, but she would appear to be asleep.
I see. Well, as I'm sitting there pretty much, I'm just, patching up my wounds, putting some homemade ointments and whatever on the burns. But it's just a little.
Are you trained in medicine?
Technically, no.
He didn't say he made the ointments.
But you try at least numb the pain of it, touch it up as you can.
Yes.
The group of you would all kind of find yourselves back out in this common ground outside the tents around the same time.
Okay.
And as you do, you would be approached by Harik. No sign of this flower as of yet, but she would be around the bonfire. You know that Nocta certainly would have it inside her tent. She hadn't had a chance to deliver it yet. Ozosh!
Yes.
Wonderful. I had been hoping to find you. Sometime I had heard you had returned, but had seen nothing of you or your kin, and I yet now see why, as a pair of them emerged from the moose tent nursing their wounds, certainly with incredible tales to tell.
Oh, very much, yes. Well, I wouldn't say wonderful tales, per se. I would definitely say it was,
Ozosh, the experience itself, whatever memories you have, whatever you were exposed to at the Gornok River this day, that pain, hold it and keep it, but that is not the tale that need be told. This, clearly, a story of triumph against an incredible degree of adversity, against a great amount of strife and pain and threat. These are the thoughts, these are the memories that make it into the tales handed down through the following. None remember the pain. None remember the precipice of defeat. All remember the victory. And they bathe in it for generations to come. Children, their children beyond. Are you ready for the festival, Ozosh?
I believe I am.
You have a tale prepared. If you are to be a student of mine, if you wish to be a song singer, if you wish to join the ranks proper, as is your ascension tomorrow, you will need an origin tale. You will follow mine. I will tell the story of the endless winter and the first spring, the moon's birth to the river of stars. You will be following it with, I believe you were working with the dawn of the mammoth?
I believe
The first of the herds?
I believe so. I'm a little rusty, but I could probably practice what I have before the festival.
Confidence! Ozosh, confidence!
I apologize. Yeah, I usually have Hanwi to support my
None
singing talents.
in attendance will know which parts of the story were slightly misremembered, or which parts had to be embellished, or which parts had to be improvised entirely. They will just remember the tale's gripping nature. This is how our stories evolve. They're not literal, so many of them.
We determine what's true.
Whoever's left standing.
Trust, there are none here of age among this following who still believe that the moon itself literally birthed the river of stars into the sky. They are tales. They are stories. As they turn to myths and legends. They are metaphor.
Well, I suppose I could exaggerate the size of the goose a little bit more.
Whatever tale you wish to tell, I anticipate it, Ozash.
Very
It will
well.
fill me with pride. I am certain.
I will definitely do my best. Thank you.
Now, I have heard good tidings around the camp of your many adventures over the past few days. It seems you are all fully ready, yes?
Yeah.
Hopefully your fellows, Barthen and Amka, are as well. Amka has been studying well with Nocta, and Barthen returned some hours before the group of you, very excited about the new discovery he had made, holding aloft the mighty spear he had found near the river.
Yes, indeed.
Do
He's
you know
not much of
it.
He's not much of a team player. He just took it and left.
He had his own ideas. It's a fine weapon with a strange point. It appears to be made out of metal, much like Aram's sword. But the banner on it is strange. It seems to identify a following based off of fire. Indeed, the river spirits, before they, almost killed us, spoke of a fairly large encampment several days upriver that, well, they burned everything they could get their hands on, so much so that ash flowed down to the Goron. In fact, it's in our casks because it was part of the water. They burned so much. I wonder if it has anything to do with those marauders that we ran into the previous day.
And she looks towards the baskets that you had brought back, some distance away, curiously but seeming to trust you, not striding over herself to go verify. These are old tales. These are stories that even I, in my life, did not experience. They are not mine to tell.
What do you mean?
The sigil on that banner that Barthen had brought back to us. It is one that is not unfamiliar to everyone in this camp, though it would be to most. I would not speak of it. It is not my place, nor is it yours. And even as the finders of that spear, this is one of many tales, perhaps best left untold.
But it may very well soon be our tale if they're only a few days away.
And you hear another voice out across the campsite from the smaller, sort of reverential tent next to House Falcons, the tent that Grandfather Sven spends much of his evenings in, meditating, communing, and preparing, almost as if on command. Harik! And she turns back. When you are through speaking with our newest crop, I would meet them in my tent. Ask them, and he's speaking to her. You are also clearly right there. Ask them to gather their fellows, those that will join them in communion tomorrow evening. I would speak with them. And he looks. He has a strange kind of expression on his face. It's not the joyful smile he usually bears. It is
Like that.
much more, perhaps, to his character art that we have.
Great.
As well, without waiting for acknowledgement, he returns back into his tent. And, Reek. Well, perhaps Sister Cinder hears your questions. I hope you
Grandfather.
did not ask them lightly.
Grandfather seems troubled.
Well, it may be trouble for everyone as well.
Fetch Barthen, find Amka. I would not keep Grandfather Sven waiting.
I'll go find Amka.
Dig up Barthen.
I'm not going anywhere near him right now.
Well, someone's gonna have to.
I'll get him.
Verja goes off to find Barthen, the Falcon House tent, and Umko would certainly not be difficult for the group of you to locate. Somewhere in working outside Moose House, attending to her prayers, most likely, within the span of a short few minutes. The group of you could all gather within this little squat tent of Grandfather Sven's. It's not grandiose. This is not like the Talden military commander with his incredibly fancy tent, his upholstered bed within. This is a place of meditation, a place of communion with the spirits. It is small and doesn't have much more than the space necessary to fit the 7 of you with the grandfather in there, and a small ringed fire in its center, burning low, but its coals red and hot. Grandfather Sven would be sat behind the fire, just on the cold earth. Would raise his eyes to acknowledge the group of you as you enter. Thank you for joining me here this eve. I know there is much that you must tend to. There is much to prepare mentally, I am certain, for the festivities that will partake in tomorrow evening. The green moon looms, but please sit by my fire.
Thank you.
His voice is much quieter than usual. On his wrinkled face, a portrait, almost distant, of sadness and expression very rarely upon the grandfather's visage. He has a little stick. He kind of pokes the embers around a bit. He crackles out of the fire to keep it going as you all kind of sit around. Barthen crosses his arms and kneels down at the position across the fire, facing Grandfather Sven, leaving the group of you to fill out the spaces on either side. Of course, Grandfather. What do you need of us? For a moment, a grin kind of comes back to Grandfather. That is my blood. Always ready. Prepared with great haste to tackle whatever problems the day may bring head on. But this is nothing that should spark such enthusiasm or such energy. I had hoped, truth be told, that you would never need to hear this tale I'm about to tell you, or at the very least, that I would not be the one to tell it. How to make a long story short. I will try to put this simply. You know of the Sjorn, the times that we now travel through. You perhaps do not have the frame of reference to understand them thoroughly, but they are lean and hard times. The winters long and cold, even the springs, somewhat bereft of their former joys. In Ethgir, when my ancestors were yet still young, if you could believe such a time existed, we broken Tusks carried a different banner and a different name. We were the Burning Mammoths. Our migratory route was great, mighty, large, tenfold that which we now travel in the Sjorn. we carried with us a very powerful light, known as the Primordial Flame. And with his stick, he kind of spreads the coals around the fire a bit into a flat layer, leaving one coal in the center and your perfectly round, bright red pebble exposed to the group. Then came the Great Quake. It shattered the lands far to the east. And he tips over a big, jagged rock from the edge of the fire into the center of the coals, where it lands with a thud, exposing a bunch of pill bugs and earwigs that had curled up, burrowing for warmth on the outskirts of the fire underneath it, who scatter into the dirt amongst you, away from the fire into the space towards the darkness. And far as we were, our people still felt the thundering hooves of the demon hordes.
Demon horns.
Are any of you trained in either society or religion?
Yeah.
I have broken
Or do
tusk
you have like
lore
a lore? Broken tusk lore would work.
because he tells me a lot of
We'll start with that.
stories.
Give me a broken tusk lore. That definitely is the most fitting. You can just, you can open roll this.
15.
With a 15, though you wouldn't know anything about the burning mammoths, that is different sigil, or any specifics of this, you would know that this great quake unearthed, for simplicity's sake of explanation to the table, what is known to the rest of the world as the world wound.
Okay.
I actually totally missed this in my mental geography setting this campaign up at first, but the realm of the Mammoth Lords is literally right next to Mendiv. You guys are adjacent to the Worldwood.
west, right?
Yeah, to the west of the Worldwood. You are in the immediate impact zone of the demon hordes that surged forth when
cold
that
here, they don't like
rift was spawned.
Grandpa, are you talking about the world wound?
This would not be a name that you use.
What would I call it?
You would not know of a name for it. You would just know that the Great Quake,
Angry Demon Land.
the Great Quake birthed with it from deep within the earth a horde of demons, of literal demons, of bat-winged, devil-horned monstrosities, pure beings of evil. But you would not know much of them, or like what they were beyond these fables at this point.
The earth was broken and the demons came free. You told us of that when we were small. It's why we don't travel that way.
We did. Once.
Really?
Before the Great Quake, many of these lands far out to the east and the north were part of the domain of the Burning Mammoth. Our travails were wide, our territory great and powerful, as were we. But none, save myself. He just kind of looks down to the fire. I am not the storyteller that Harik is. I am no song singer. But I will do my best to keep to what I mean to impart you. You are right. And with these tides of demons that were birthed onto the world, our mammoth lords at the time argued over what to do with our light. In the end, some of us took the Primordial Flame. We took it with us west, to hide it somewhere that it would be safe, where it could not fall into the hands of the hordes. And with a stick, he separates just a couple of coals from the rest of the pile. A small, faintly growing heap from the mass ringed around the outside, and moves this round pebble, red hot, next to it. The others They called us traitors and marched out east, following our old paths to face the demon hordes head on. To fight for their way of life and for ours, taking the banner of the burning mammoth with them. Weak, but determined to carry on, we took a new name, Broken Tusks. This was long ago, and much has transpired since. He casts his stick down into the fire. But the spear that you so excitedly brought me, Barthen, that emblem is one none save myself were old enough to have seen before the schism. They have returned, and in time, for the night of the green moon, a ritual that was as much theirs as it is now ours.
So, they see what we did as a betrayal, and that's why they hate us.
I cannot say what this means. My ancestors' spirits are silent.
It was a long time ago. Perhaps reconciliation can happen? If the Festival of the Green Moon is important to the both of us, surely they wouldn't try to fight
us
today.
on sight.
I know.
My old bones tell me this will not be a happy reunion. And Barthen smirked there into the fire. So what? These guys ran into a couple of their hunters going after a herd of tapers. Weren't even ready for a fight. Took them down with no issue. Drawing water from the Gornok River caused them more injury than that. If they want to fight, so be it. We can handle them.
We can handle a couple. We can handle a group. We might have difficulties taking on tenfold our numbers if they still maintain that strength.
Also, I mean, if you get right down to it, they're kind of still our family. And, I mean, wouldn't it be better to combine our strength with theirs if there's a possibility of reconciliation?
If they want to come to the Night of the Green Festival, bearing a branch of peace, fine. I don't care. More strength for the Tusks. But if they rise up to fight us, and just kind of gestures out to the camp. Who could stand against even you alone, grandfather? Much less Murthig and Nocta and Wotan.
Wotan's pretty strong.
And truth be told, grandfather, your grandson is right. He's very strong. He'll do well should a fight break out.
The grandfather still said, he has no smile at this. I think that even given this situation, even few other mammoth lords would understand the weight of my concerns. And I fear that perhaps the same may very well be true of the group sat before me. But after your tale, Hanwi, you came to me of your encounter in the thicket not far from our camp, and Barthen, my kin, bringing me this spear wrapped with their very insignia. We cannot cancel the Green Moon ceremony. It is far too late. The blow to the morale of our following for an event I expect many of them could not even properly understand. It would be too much to bear after the harshest winter in living memory. Besides, these worries may well be for naught. You said that their camps were some days upriver.
Such that we were able to tell.
Obviously, I have not kept up on developments of the burning mammoths in the intervening years, but if they are even a mere shadow of their former strength. A greater following moves slower. The largest mammoths trail at the back of the herd. If that was their distance this afternoon, it would be impossible for them to arrive at Rockloom by tomorrow evening.
That said, if their mind is bent on mischief, perhaps having the hunters be ready.
You don't have to send the entire group to harass a single ceremony.
And that is a truth, to be certain. I will spread some word through those that need hear it. I will speak with Merthig of Muskok's house, and of our hunters, perhaps. The Weeper is in no state to lead the scouts. I feel, well, we'll prepare as we can in case we must.
Of course.
Grandfather, may I ask a question about the flame?
Of course.
If we know that the flame is real and it was hidden, is there any chance we could try to find it again and use it to bring the tribes back together and unite them?
He points his gaze down at this still burning spherical pebble in the fire. That, I'm afraid, is the worst part of this sad story. We did not hide it well enough. It was stolen.
Who would do such a thing?
There's no more of this for now. There is still much to do before the ceremony. Today's preparations will take our full commitments, both in mind and in body. We must ready the camp and the tents to be moved as the sun rises after the festival. Our migrations begin anew as they always have. And almost as a fun cue, you hear a loud pop from the fire as this hot stone cracks, splitting almost in halves. A large chunk just kind of falls into the dirt next to it. And besides, I think Sister Cinder tires of these tales.
As you say.
Get some rest. Tomorrow, it is your evening, all of you. Ready for it as you can.
Thank you.
Good.
And
Hey, Ozosh, could you help me with something?
What do you need?
Well,
I'm going to go to the riverbank, turn into I need something that pest form will work. Fish? Can I turn into a fish?
Pest form is like basically any like small animal, like
Okay.
anything to be like leveled -1 to 0 you can turn into.
Perfect.
Like just pick an animal.
Turn into a fish, jump in that water, wash the rest of the dirt off. Come on out,
enough.
and I'm clean.
just gonna go find somebody with prestidigitation. It's gonna be fine.
And as you're talking to Ozosh, as you come out, Barthen just interrupts you. Can you believe this?
Yes.
Look at us. You're looking at Ozosh and Verja specifically, and not Aram at all, as Hanwi is making her way off towards the river. I'm beyond words.
Someone much wiser and stronger than us thinks it's worth being careful. We should listen.
There's someone much wiser and stronger. My grandfather is afraid. I've never seen this. Look, he himself said these burning mammoths haven't been around for, what, generations?
This may be true. However, if it was one thing I know, your grandfather is a leader for a reason, because great leaders.
If they're here, they come back with their tail between their legs, running like failures from the demons. Took what was our family, our following, off to go waste it on nothing. Probably just come back to beg forgiveness.
I can understand your frustration, but there is always a time when to fight is best, kept on the weight.
What are you scared to, Ozosh?
No, it is not. It is not fear. It is strategy, if you say. A diplomacy.
We should be happy. The signs are pointing to them trying to interrupt the festival tomorrow. We'll get to fight.
If they want to come, They want to cause problems. If they want to bring their fire to our festival, I'll run them through with their own spear. Nice enough to leave it for me.
And in that case, that is completely fair. However, till then, it is best not to antagonize anyone, but be ready whenever possible.
Whatever. He just turns and walks away from the group.
That's why I left that house. I couldn't stand it anymore.
He seems very, what is word? Toxic.
Look, our job is to protect the Tusks, protect the next generation. We're not here to pick a fight. We're here to defend what's ours.
Exactly. Preserve what our ancestors have taught us and teach it forward to our newer generations. It's very simple. However, I will say on somewhat of Botton's agreement that we should still be prepared for a fight in case...
Of course, but I find no joy in the fight. You're not supposed to find joy in a fight. It's supposed to be something you do because it's necessary.
I agree.
We can take advantage. He is strong. So we simply point him at whatever the problem is and watch.
I mean, that's generally been my strategy with him. I mean, but he keeps coming out of it in one piece somehow.
If it's one thing I know, he's very stubborn, yes, but I believe Verja might be onto something here.
Verja's always onto something.
Typically your nerves.
No, I love you. You're my brother. But sometimes I do want to smack you upside the head.
Meanwhile, down at the river. Which is funny, I get to just say that completely unironically. Meanwhile, down the river.
Fish, I'm a fish.
A quick use of your abilities swim through, I guess it's nearby streams more than the river, as a small fish would be more than enough to very easily clean off the worst of this grime. And even with spring coming, the waters are still absolutely cool. And I am certain, would feel much better against the scales of this fish hide than they would soaking through your leather dress or your hide skin dress as they were up at the Gornock earlier today.
Yeah. Although Hanwi isn't bothered by the cold, so
That's fair.
The cold never bothered
The cold
you
never
anyways.
bothered you anyway.
As you emerge up
Where's my axe?
from the river,
Got him.
It's the quest for the frozen flame.
as you come up out of the river, a little shrub starts a bit browning that looks like it's sort of starting to have a bit of its luster fading. Shudders forth on tiny little knobbly knees.
I was joking.
Is that something you learned how to do here? Turn into a fish sounds... That seems interesting.
to kind of straighten back up. Her fish still has the tattoo. Her fish body still has the tattoos on it, actually. Kind of pops back into human form. Oh, Henry. Yeah. No, I could always do this.
Huh. Never really can understand why long folk think my people are so strange. I'm out here turning into fish in a stream and under the setting sun.
Oh,
Just-
I wasn't.
Is it fun?
I wasn't always.
Fun being a fish?
It's a little different.
It's about the furthest thing from a rock you could possibly be, I figure.
A fish from a rock? Well, it floats for one thing, so yeah, that's definitely very different.
Well, you live in a stream. Water's like the natural antithesis of a rock. Water destroys the rock. Takes a long time, but they do it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Anyway, I had a question. I figured I'd wait until you were done being a fish, because I wasn't really sure if you could answer.
Thank you.
Why is everyone so excited about this moon tomorrow? There's a moon almost every night. There's always a moon.
It's a special occasion. It's not always it is always the moon, and it's always but it's not always in the same form. The moon moves between different phases,
Well,
and
I-
it's different every time you look at it, but it's always the same moon.
Well, it kind of just goes back and forth. You have the big moon, and then slowly has little pieces taken out of it till it goes away entirely. And then it grows back up the same way. It's not gonna look. Is something crazy happening? Because it's just gonna be a little bit bigger than that tomorrow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be the fullest it is, but it's also the special time of year. You can't see it as well from here, but the moon actually moves slightly closer and slightly further away. It dances, actually.
Oh boy.
So does this fish thing? Does it kind of mess with your head a bit? Does it? I mean, you get a lot smaller, so you don't have as much room for thinking. And you,
Oh, I don't need any more room for thinking.
I think you might possibly you could use a little bit maybe. I got some, well, or maybe you have too much. Perhaps it's come all the way back around full circle, and you're having weird thoughts that don't have any grounding. That don't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing. They're not grounded at all. We're talking about the moon.
Right.
Yeah, the ground has nothing to do with the moon.
It just sits there.
Oh, but it's the furthest thing from the truth. One of these days, I'll take you
I
through
have never seen the moon move. Now I know that you little you long folk, you mortals with your lives. I don't know how many seasons. I've heard varying things. Apparently, some of you die after just a couple of dozen, and some of you make it dozens of winters. But
Yeah,
that's
some of them do, yes.
so. I've been here for probably about 731 winters. Mm-hmm. And in all of those times, all of those seasons, I don't think I've seen the moon move.
That's because you haven't been looking for it, or you haven't noticed. When I'm able to get into the sky again, I'll take you with me. I'll show you.
I don't think I want to do that. That sounds horrible. Why would you want to get as far away from the rocks as you possibly could?
Because then you're closer to the moon. I'm about as far away from the moon as I can possibly be. It has its charming moments, but
I don't.
imagine if you were as far away. Imagine.
So I understand this actually. I think I understand everything perfectly. There was another of my kinfolk. It's Shaggy. You probably won't ever meet him. We don't convene very often. We're sort of a solitary sort of kid, unless we every now and then meet around the rocks to discuss things, but that's not due for another couple hundred of winters, I don't think, for the next one. He's a bit of the, well, we keep him around because he's family, right? Because he's kin. But he's got, strange thoughts. His hair is a little too thick, perhaps. It's grown back inside his skull. And his mind doesn't work right.
that can happen.
I don't know. It seems like it. He's got the weird visions of how the rocks work. He claims to see them move. I mean, we use the rocks. They're great. They have spirits. We can understand from them. They don't literally talk. They don't have mouths, but he hears them anyway. He's a bit of the you're the Shaggy. Are you the Shaggy? Are you following? Should I ask someone else?
I just noticed he has a very heavy bottom lip.
Oh, am I like him? Well, I mean, I don't hear rocks, but I can hear, animals can talk to me sometimes.
One of your chieftains, is it? The
Mammoth Lords.
The shorter man, the one-handed one. With the muskox, apparently.
Murthig.
Murthig. Murthig. Long folk names are so strange. Murthig.
At least you only have to remember one each.
I thought you had two. Every random traveling longfolk I've ever interacted with had two names.
Really?
That's why I made up two to introduce myself.
That sounds confusing.
You're confusing.
I'm sorry?
It's okay. I forgive you.
Oh, thank you.
But, so what am I supposed to do? This Murthig, he said that, that I could follow the Broken Tusk with the migration, and it was some big ceremony, and I said it sounded exciting, and he seemed a little confused, but apparently he has a very special rock, and I'm going to get a very special rock, and then I'm going to come with you.
Oh, you're going to be joining us. That's lovely.
Well, you have the mammoths.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything more beautiful or more hairy.
Of course, of course. Yes, it's a special, well,
Can you turn into other things?
uh-huh. All
What
sorts.
kind of things?
Well. Oh, I know what you'll like. And Hanui will focus on her tattoos a bit and kind of shine with light as she gets a focus point back from them. And then she will transform down into a very shaggy snow rabbit. That looks like it's like a little puff of fur, with little ears coming out of it.
Cute.
I was expecting you to turn into a rock.
Nope.
She reaches out with one finger and just
Just goes
touch.
all through the fur. There's a head under there eventually.
Ah,
Kind of hop up to him and kind of just do that rabbit thing where it sits up and wiggles its nose.
That's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
this is one of the most horrible things I've ever seen. This is a curse of some kind. Are you cursed by the moon? You have this transformation, but it's only to things that don't have proper hair.
The rabbit's ears kind of flop back down and she's just kind of
He kind of just reaches out with the finger and sort of touches the top of it. This isn't hair. It's soft. It's like I don't even know.
almost focus and turn back into Hanui, who's just kind of sitting down. I'm sorry, I thought you'd like it, but yes, you don't like.
No,
like
I do.
fur.
No, it's. Do it again. Please, if you would. That's a word. Long folk like that. Please. It's one of your magic words, I was told.
It does help actually. A moment, let me focus a bit, and we'll find something that you'll like.
And you, if you're willing to humor Henry out here through his weird adventures, you would slowly start to learn that hairy thing is not quite as straightforward as it may have sounded at first, as Henry here and his kin seem to have a very precise definition of hair. And it's got a hair should be coarse, it should be thick, it should be firm, it should not be soft, it should not be tufts.
Turn into a hedgehog. That'll show him.
Porcupine, maybe.
But
Hanui actually likes this because Hanui does not transform a lot around other members of the Tusk because it kind of might make them feel a little uneasy.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, so she tends to keep human form around the Tusk, but it's kind of nice to find someone who's like, I mean, obviously a little weirded out by the fact that she transforms, but is kind of intrigued by it.
this is, yep. I mean, it makes sense. Hanwi gets along with this weird little hairy fey monster more than, the people that she lives with. So that seems about on brand. I think we got a real good window into the psyche of Hanwi
wait a
here
minute,
with
wait
this
a minute.
particular situation.
Look, just because we meet up at the same gaming store doesn't mean I'm like the weird kid who's there.
I would very much like it if you would turn into a rabbit in front of me.
But
Please help.
whatever direction that conversation would take you, the rest of you back at the camp with this tale now would know that there is still a lot of festival preparation to do, but it's not so much preparation for the festival. That should all be finished this eve. And as you gather around the evening's fire for a great meal of stewed meat, just a huge heap to give everyone the strength and the power for everything that was coming tomorrow to herald in the spring proper. Tomorrow's preparations are of a different vein. The day after the Green Moon Festival is when everything gets back underway. It is when the migration commences, the beginning of spring, and it is the beginning of your journey back inland, back towards the east. A travel that was apparently once much, much longer than it is now. But we're going to tread the same path we have for generation after generation for as long as any of you have known it. So a good night's rest is going to be very much warranted before the following morning's preparations begin. There is a great amount of work to be done. All of your great house tents need to be prepared. The herds need to be readied for movement. A lot of people have various roles throughout this. Obviously, you have Emek and her herders that are readying all of the actual flocks to move. You have some that are in charge of the greater things, the mammoth lords overseeing the deconstruction of your communal tents, brought back down into their various pieces to be borne on the road in small packs. These great tents collapsed so far to be carried simply by the folk, walking the roads themselves as packs. What you do, since you have not become full Tusks, you don't have a full role yet, you've always been trained to be scouts, for all of your lives that you've been with the following has just kind of been, well, odd jobs, more or less. Helping out where you're needed, trying to find ways to assist. And this morning, there would be a plethora of jobs available. Barthen, as he always does, would, as direct blood of the Falcon House, the grandson of grandfather Sven, would be helping with the actual teardown of the Falcon tent itself. Omka would be working with Nocta the healer to prepare and to ready and to pack all the rest of their ritualistic implements, everything they use both for the healing and for their various incenses and their ceremonial purposes. The four of you would be left kind of immediate direct taskless. But as you awake in the morning, Urgula would certainly have she would be the one as the head scout, and you were trained to be scouts, has always directed you before. She, since the moose hunt, has not done much.
Understandable.
She
is so pregnant.
She has kind of reached the point of pregnant. Maybe the moose hunt maybe told her, like, hey, probably don't travel for several hours a day to go do big exertion. So she hasn't really gone much further than the Otter House tent in the couple of days that you've been working. You'd find her in the same place that you have these last few evenings, set back, kind of propped up on a mound of cloths and furs. As pregnant as she has been, not moving like at all to aid with this, as the tent is kind of started to be deconstructed and taken down literally around her.
Urgula, I was talking to Amka, and she said that, well, maybe it might help, since you really shouldn't have been walking around a lot. And don't take this the wrong way, it's just she said that your feet might be really sore.
No, I am fine. The last few days after our moose hunt have certainly been tiring, but I am perfectly as okay as I can be. I do not think I'll be undertaking any great day journeys, but thank you, Aram. Are you looking for things to do? Oh, and she was like a moment of realization. Oh, right, okay. Let me think. Well, I know of a couple of things that you can do. It's simple enough. I do not want to give you anything overly burdensome. Tonight is going to be your nights after all.
Oh, that's good, because Virgil was just telling me how much his back was hurting.
From carrying you everywhere.
Why do you always gotta one-up me?
And she kind of puts both hands over her stomach, and a bit of a grimace crosses her face
Oh.
for a brief moment. Perhaps if Sister Cinder sees fit to truly bless us, you may not be the only ones coming into a new phase with the Green Moon.
Is my brother and sister coming? I'm telling you, it's twins, a boy and a girl.
You are so confident, but maybe. I certainly have the weight of one. If not, I expect them to be a child sized as a horse. A mammoth even, maybe.
You can do that?
He just kind of shakes her head. Harik, my mother, has been poking a bit of fun. That's my condition. Apparently something that many get more used to, but after she was blessed with twins, never again, she told the gods. Never again. Oh, seriousness though. I suppose most of the larger tasks have all been well assigned. Everything is ready as it needs to be. We should be good to travel tomorrow morning without any real difficulties. So I suppose you could just help with some simple cleaning up, head around camp, gathering loose materials, organize some of the tools so they'll be easily packed up with the house's kits. That should be simple enough, and just helping out where you really can. Similarly, I would hope that at this day I need not tell you the trails we are to follow. You can clear a bit of the path ahead and just ensure that the trails are simple enough that they'll be easily journeyed by us and our herds. Nothing will be present scattered across the ways to slow us. I know that Murthig actually was looking for some hands to help with diluting the spirits. For the festival tonight, actually.
Like the spirits that, guide us?
Some would say, for sure. But no, the fermented roots.
Oh, those spirits. We call them spirits? Why do we do that?
Apparently the batch for this year's festival is a mite strong. And if it is strong for Murthig, I don't even want to begin to imagine what consuming that must be like. If you have some time, diluting them is probably wise. Thin them out with some of the waters, spread them as more for the following, and certainly it would be a better experience for everyone. We do not need half of the Tusks stumbling over their own feet trying to walk from these grounds tomorrow morning. As the sun rises, we'll need to be ready to go. You may even want to check, perhaps remove some of the more potent herbs that are stewing. It seems like it might be wise. Oh, and I won't force such a curse upon you, but Emek was looking for a bit of help.
I'm gonna go
She
clear the
needs
path now. Not it.
They could use some aid rounding up the animals, or, perhaps you could just inspire some of the other herders to perhaps work a bit more efficiently. Truth be told, I do not know how much work a herder even sees in an average sun. 2 hours, maybe? They put a little more effort into it. If I could lead a moose hunt 4 days ago, they can spend at least a third of an entire sun actually doing something.
Urgula, you are a hero.
I'll go help dilute the
I'm glad you
spirits.
find humor in this. I'm sure my mother would find delirium. But any of those things all seem like they would be useful tasks.
I'm gonna go clear some trail. I'm
Make
good at it.
ethanol drinkable.
I'll go help the herders.
Now you don't have to completely split out on this. You've
Don't
got
you-
the better part of a day. There are things you're gonna have to tend to later in the day, but more or less, or later in the afternoon, as you're ready to actually move. The ceremonies begin here before you actually move to Rockloom. You probably got about 8 hours to tend to whatever tasks you can. If you want to stick with what you said, that's fine. But you can definitely aid each other on these tasks if you so choose.
I'll go with you and try to water down some alcohol first. But I really do think that we should hit the trail earlier in the day. I think it's going to make it easier.
All right. We got plenty of time. We'll be able to take care of it.
What were the other ones? There was clear the
Clean
trail,
camp,
help.
clean the trail, diluting the spirits, and gathering the herd. Kind of the four
I got you.
directions that Urgula has sent you off.
Drinking, thinking, minking.
You're not helping.
Okay.
So I guess we'll start over here with you two. Heading out onto the trail to try and see what you can find, what you can clear up. And the ways from Rockloom, very rarely poses any kind of dangers. It is, again, an extremely well-traveled path. But, making sure, just in case, isn't a bad idea. It's a bit further away because you have to actually travel. So it's going to take you a couple of hours to do this.
Oh, good.
Which means, realistically, there's not much you could do that I could think of as you got a really good thought other than a survival check.
Yeah.
To, like, scout the
Fine,
trail itself and the
seems-
local
Survival.
environs and
Make
see.
sure there's not like a random rattlesnake someone put there.
Exactly.
Sounds reasonable.
And one of you aid
Can I
the
use
other.
Can I use Terrain Stalker? Because since I'm on the ground,
You're
that
not stalking anything. You're checking.
no,
for
I meant
debris.
sorry. Yeah, I guess I'm not.
Yeah, just one who's
I'm not
aiding
stalking
who.
anything. You want me to
Can we
aid you?
both roll?
Who's aiding who?
I will aid.
Okay. Oh boy.
Give me a roll, Verja. Nice.
Throw it.
Solid. Went to space. Great
Bounce.
gusto.
Nice.
Oh, that's a 23.
23 will succeed. You will get a +1 to your check.
I'm gonna roll a 2.
Probably.
Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's gonna be a 20.
With a 20.
With my +1, you beat what my dice rolled.
I hate you.
With a 20, as you travel, spending about 2 hours up and down the trail, just making sure about an hour's worth of the walk seems to be clear, you do come across something. There is a wadded ball of mud stuck onto the side of a tree, not facing this main trail, but off on the far side of it, so you don't really see it till you're past it. A ball a bit larger than a torso, maybe about like the body of a like one of the smaller members of your herd, about 4 feet across, is in all directions, with a spout on the front, kind of shaped out of it. It's maybe about 8 inches in diameter. The two of you would immediately recognize this with a survival check as a bloodseeker nest. That's a problem. That probably shouldn't be there, and the two of you
Yeah.
walking by on the trail is not enough to disturb it.
Oh, good.
But a whole following with several mammoths and herds absolutely would be.
And it begins with a B, so we can't have that. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't seem... I mean, we should definitely get that out of the way.
Well, the question is, should we do it or should we bring more people? It's not exactly the safest thing to mess with.
Yeah, but it
You would
would...
estimate a nest of that size has like 1 to 4 bloodseekers in it. They don't live in like, it's not a beehive. You're not gonna kick in 300 bloodseekers are gonna come
4
out.
blood seekers is still very dangerous.
It could be. It could. I mean, it's not nothing. It could be threatening. Like you're not. I'm just giving you info.
Yeah.
I'm not like telling you.
Like
Don't.
this is a thing.
I'm just saying, like, if you kick it, you're not gonna get swarmed by 100 of them and
Yeah.
definitely die. I'm just like what you know.
Well, we know that if we can get some smoke by that, the smoke will kind of slow them down and make them a little woozy and tired. It might make them disoriented enough where we can then take the nest and just move it, so that way we don't have to like bother with them. We just get the nest where it won't bother us.
How about we plug the hole with a torch?
I wasn't thinking lighting it on fire. I was thinking just the smoke, but I suppose if it comes to it, we could light it on fire. It
It's
just
not
seems
a
like it would
crazy
really
thought,
annoy...
right?
No, it's not.
Like the entrance is about yay big.
Interest is about the size of a torch.
Put
Okay.
a torch in there. Well, it's on fire.
No, I'm with you.
die.
Sure. Let's give it a go. I got some torches.
Yeah.
We get some flint and steel.
So you light up a torch, and Virgil walks up and sticks it in the hole. Make me an initiative roll real quick. I don't have a map for this, but I don't super feel like we need one.
All right. 22.
22.
Did they get a nat 20?
Would you believe I got no? But it was pretty high. Would you believe I got a 23?
Oh.
Throw me one too, Aram. You're there.
Wait, wouldn't we have our?
Can I make them my prey before I roll?
No, you could be scouting.
Yeah, I could be
It doesn't
scouting.
matter because
23
it's
would still
tied.
beat you. But
It's funny though.
Oh, you stuck a torch in a friggin' Bloodseeker nest.
Hey, we both got a 16.
Actually, I have a 24.
A 24. You'd see a torch stick in. These aren't bees. These are like 6-inch large super mosquitoes, and this aggravates them a lot. And you would see the nest physically shudder a little on the side of the tree, and here
boy.
is Vert just sitting there with a torch stick. The stuff coming.
So I'm gonna go and try to kick it as far away from Verja as is humanly possible.
Hey.
So as you run up and boot this nest, you intervene, and God intervenes. And by God, I mean Handsome Ganker. With a hero point for Verja, Mr. Bad But Funny Decisions only has a single hero point. We need to fix this for more Bad But
I
Funny
don't
Decisions.
have any. I used them all. Unless my cards are just missing.
Oh, we did move them all? They might be.
I own.
Here,
I've got mine.
You go make Chris
Yeah,
for a second.
there you
We'll
go.
find it later. Just do that. Well, I'll find it later. Put it back in the deck. Those are here too now.
Okay.
Make me an athletics check.
Literally kicking the hornet's nest.
I am
Love
literally.
our thought process. I was thinking torch it. I'm gonna kick it.
I'm gonna play hold the line. Until the start of my next turn, each time an enemy would leave a space adjacent to me while using a move action, it has to succeed at an acrobatics or athletics check against my fort DC, or the move action is disrupted.
Okay.
So that it maybe
Push it back in the nest.
Push it back in the nest.
Boot this next nest.
Boot to the head. Okay, guys. That's a 13.
A 13, you run up and stick your foot in, and you, Virgin, as you stand here, see arm run up and punch his foot through the side of the nest, collapsing one side of it in,
Now
which
there's
a
2 holes.
pair of extremely angry bloodseekers surge out onto the outside of the nest.
Oh god, that wasn't what I meant to
You got
do.
one action
They
left.
have to make athletics checks.
You get one action left.
I'm gonna draw my sword.
So the fun fact is they do actually need to move into your square to hit you. So they do have to make the hold the line athletics checks to get in as they
Yep.
swarm out of the nest here. So against your fort DC, the pair of them are gonna make a check as you just sort of wave your sword vaguely at them and fend them off here. Okay, so blood
Sluma, help me.
1 and 2. What's your fort DC?
It's 16.
Wow, those are really high rolls. Unfortunately, they're untrained in athletics and are bugs. So that's going to be a 13 and an 11.
Get in.
That's going to be a 13 and a 4. And that's going to be, I rolled a 17 on one of the dice every single time. A 13 and a 15.
Hey.
As you, with the power of Hero Point, managed to contain them in the nest enough that their size kind of working against them. They're too big to easily get out and onto the pair of you. Verja,
I'm gonna burn them.
you have a torch in your
I
hand.
have the torch in the thing. I'm just gonna burn the bugs.
Save me an attack roll.
Have you seen his torch?
That's a reroll.
Fair?
Can't use either of those.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, okay.
That's okay, it happens.
Yes.
All right, so that's gonna be improvised weapon is -4.
Torch is improvised?
Torches, I'm pretty sure.
No, torch is just a
usually-
weapon.
No, I think a torch is an improvised weapon.
is?
You're right. It's not a club, it's a torch.
Is it?
Improvised weapon -4 is.
I thought it was a club.
All right.
No, it's a torch. Club's a different thing. Club's a club.
Club's a torch that's
It's a
not on fire.
club-shaped torch. But like
13.
13. You stick this in there. I'm gonna give him flat-footed for kind of being stuck in this nest here. And you clip a couple of wings. Angry buzzing ensues, but you don't quite manage to poke him. You're sort of still finagling it through a hole here. It's kind of weirdly hard to do.
Well, you know what I'm gonna keep doing?
Poking him.
Burning the bugs. It's like, oh, I think I got him.
Not
Hold
how I
on.
thought it was going.
Burn him.
That's gonna be 4. Because I don't know what a torch or an improvised weapon is, but I'm just assuming
Sure, it's not
-5.
agile now. Yeah.
Hold
Give me
on.
that 20.
I think I got him. Here we go.
One,
That's the
yes.
one. At this point, like most of my items
that's
in there.
my
Torch is
foot!
like in
That's
the
my
thing.
foot!
It's like in the you poke it out the bottom of the nest. You like reach again.
I think I
and
got
you
him.
Snuff it into the ground and put the torch out. Don't even notice, but Arum sees it. Arum.
Arum is like, Suma, you and I never thought we would be working together on this, but it's time to kill some of whatever those are. And he's gonna make a quick flurry slash to try to take two of them out while they're stuck in the nest.
Okay. Did you take 2 attacks?
Yeah.
2 actions, 2 attacks?
Yeah.
Hunter flurry is 1 target and has to be your prey. Neither of those things are currently applying.
If I was there.
Hunt prey.
I'll prey. I'll bug. Then slap it twice.
Yes. I thought I made them my prey last turn, but apparently I
You can't make the nest your prey, no. Just- my prey is all of them.
Well, I always pray. Okay. That's gonna be a 19.
What are you swinging exactly? This is a longsword?
Longsword.
Sure. Maybe a damage roll. I don't know if you can not kill them. It is a bug. This is about a 6-inch bug. You hit him with a sword. Pretty sure he's dead.
Oh, that's 10 damage.
Yeah, he dead. So
Dead bug.
you just flail twice into the nest, and one of them just kind of sinks back in and drops out the hole in the bottom that Verja has poked through with the torch, and one of them is still angrily trying to come out. Well, 1 action left.
Hit him again. Hit him again.
All right, minus the everything.
3.
-5.
-5, yeah.
It's been 2 attacks, but it's 6, isn't it? With your flurry? On the third
No,
attack?
2
Third
attack is your
Oh,
second
no, that's a
attack
good
is
point.
minus.
So this is technically your third attack.
This is your third
against
attack.
Oh,
someone
that's
who's
right.
Not your prey. So it's -10.
minus
Oh,
10.
oh, you only get the flare on your prey. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so full -10 then. Whippity
You're right.
wappity.
You know what? That is still an 8. And as we
You
all know,
slap this down and take another chunk out of the side of the nest here, as this one remaining Bloodseeker is going to angrily buzz out away from the fire and onto Arum. We're playing this out, honestly, just because it's funny at this point. And the Bloodseeker buzzes out and latches itself like kind of up onto the back of
Hey.
Arum's shoulder, but he can't super easily reach it. And Verja would see its long proboscis kind of just like slip in the collar of his armor, do a little bit of sucking, do 2 points of damage.
well, what was the hit?
The
They
hit
don't
was
hit.
enough.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 24.
Oh, okay.
Like
They don't hit, they merely
they do
bite.
have to hit, but it was like a 24.
Okay.
I didn't say the number. I just meant it was like, yeah, it does. I rolled like an 18 on the die.
Okay. That's
So 26 even. And
Can they
2 damage in your
bite?
drained 1.
Oh boy. I'm having fun.
Verja.
Hold still.
No!
Verja. You whacking it with your greatsword?
No, the torch.
Oh.
You're gonna set me.
Improvise is -2.
Yeah.
1 of your brain. It's -2 in second edition, so give him a whap.
Oh, nice.
22. I'm assuming this is
It's
D6.
flat-footed, but it actually still does not crit. I'll
Damn
give
it.
you... the torch is a kind of thin little stick. It's probably just D4, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
That's
slapping
fine.
stick damage.
Get your full rage bonus.
I'm not raging.
No, he's just
He's not raging.
He's just whacking.
5.
Okay, 5. You smack it. You see as it starts to suck, you see its thorax kind of start to swell up at this like reddish color
Did I,
from
like, squish
Arm's
some of
blood.
the-
And you literally hit it and just... a bunch of Arm's own blood kind of sprays out across the back of him, and the bug sort of
Harder.
flattens across his back, but it's still going.
I don't like where this is going.
We've learned that Verge's role in the party is to beat his friends. That's how we fight enemies.
So that will only be 3.
I'm gonna
But
get it.
you whack Arum.
Hey, stop!
6. So this will be a -4, or that would have been a 6. This will be at a -4.
Please stop.
A -4 grand total.
Yeah.
Oh my.
With the
A
minus.
D20
With your
minus
attack
1.
modifier. Okay.
All right. 14.
It is flat.
14 is the flat-footed AC.
Hey! You and your exact lethal.
It'll take another 5 damage.
And you, with another good swing, splat it into the back of Arum's armor. And with these 2 bugs down, you feel like this nest, obliterated as it is by your efforts, one bug dead inside, one just kind of squished across Arm's back as you slap him with an unlit torch.
I am going to look
Arm,
at.
you got a little blood on you there. Are you okay?
I'm gonna dive at you.
But the good news is, the pair of you feel like you've done a pretty decent job of clearing the trail. Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
Oh boy.
Hanwi, Ozash, what are you two up to?
You feel like purifying some strong liquor?
I was probably gonna go and help Imek with the animals, just so that no one
do
else
that
had
too.
to go talk to her. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I can help.
All right. That
I
works.
gotta keep an eye on you anyway. You're trouble.
I am not trouble. If anything else, you should keep an eye on Arm and Verja. They're the ones who are going to get into trouble.
You're not wrong.
Angry. buzzing.
Meanwhile, bees.
All right, we're going to see Emek.
Okay. The two of you head out to mentally fortified to go deal with the herding. It becomes apparent pretty quickly that assisting Imek directly is all but impossible, as you just can't do what she does. She is just a savant at this. But what you can do is go attempt to herd up some of the outlying animals generally towards her direction, the rest of the herders, or as Urgula implied earlier, maybe encourage the rest of the herders to, do anything. This task is definitely going to take a large amount of time either way, as gathering the herd is going to take the lion's share of the day. But you could go either nature to go after the animals directly or diplomacy to try to work with the herders. Now, you can either aid each other or we could each go a different direction if you wanted to. But either one will be equally helpful.
If you're going with nature, I can aid you.
I like dealing with animals better than people anyway.
Say,
Okay. We'll just be better herders. Or try to be. Do you make it worse?
9?
Makes
He
it
makes
worse.
it worse.
Okay.
Ozash is big and scary and kind of just makes the animals more nervous and a little bit less responsive. He has -1 to your nature check.
All right.
He gets in there and Eric Colt.
So that's a 10.
Aminos.
Booga booga booga.
10's gonna fail.
But not
You don't
critically.
make no progress over, I don't know, like 6 hours of work. You managed to get the herd. It's definitely like more in. It's closer. If you spend the rest of the time you were preparing, you might be able to like make a meaningful difference following up on this, but it is going to be like, this is your day. Your day is animal day.
All right.
If you want to try one more.
If you want to go handle spirits, I can try to finish up here.
Don't get over your head there, for you are short. So,
Thanks.
I might get taller one day.
Hanwi, give me one last nature check as Ozash leaves you behind.
Okay, now that the big scary guy isn't here anymore, let's see if I can go ahead and make the animals. So I've got some hero points here.
What's it on the dice there?
That's a natural 1,
Yeah.
good sir.
Hey, Nick. This is a good die.
I
offer you
get that
the devil's
cursed
deal.
malachite.
This is just pretty.
Hey, I've got it right here. I faith.
We're really bad
My
with
die
animals. This is
will come
just
through.
it's the
We
same
just-
tapers. It's literally the same tapers.
They just hate us. They
And
remember.
They just hate you guys.
They remember.
That's
better.
Is it? Oh, that's a 9. Okay, I thought it was a 2. All right.
It would still be better.
That's it. It would be, but not in the result. So that's going to be 16.
16 will succeed. 16, though Hanwi spent the entire day doing it, is going to allow her to bring most of the herd in. Now, after your 2 hours journey of scouting enough of the trail to make sure you'd be able to get everything underway without any major hitches, about halfway through the morning into the early afternoon, Aram and Verja would return to camp.
We're gonna go do some spirit stuff.
And you would get there
Time to make a drink
before Ozash. Are you both going there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the end of this attempt would be about almost exactly when Ozash arrives. This is relatively straightforward. You can either try and dilute all this and water it down, or you can attempt to somewhat cautiously remove the most potent of the herbs from these brews to stop them stewing and not make it at least any worse. Regardless, the knowledge of how this is going to affect the following is going to be either a medicine check or a thievery to quickly and safely sort through all of this.
Can I do lore herbalism
I would absolutely give you lore herbalism for sure.
to take the herbs out? Well, okay.
Medicine.
So I'll let you aid her with your medicine.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Lore herbalism is kind of just like medicine, more specific medicine.
Yeah. 6.
Helping.
Yeah, I'm helping.
Stop.
Verja thinks he knows a lot.
No.
He doesn't.
Came to put water in the alcohol like he was told to.
So he's just getting in the way and being a nuisance.
You're making it worse.
I'm just helping.
You're such a good friend. All
thank you.
right. He'll go in there
That
with
one's red.
his tools and he'll carefully try to start removing what he thinks is going to be the most potent without.
I'm accidentally putting more alcohol in the alcohol and I don't realize because it's both clear liquids.
Yeah, that sounds about what Verja would do.
Okay, that's going to be a 17.
17 even with his -1 despite Verja's
Oh, yeah.
best efforts.
16, sorry.
16 despite Verja's best efforts. You are going to be able to succeed here. I guess at the end of the day,
What are
diluting
you
it a bit did
whining about?
certainly help out, and you're able to get some of the most potent things out. You feel like it's probably safe for human consumption.
Well, first we need some humans to consume it. Verja doesn't qualify.
And that is why I am here.
It's for later during the celebration.
And it would be exactly about when you're finishing up Ozash arrives.
I suppose you've already finished.
I mean, he was great. I mean, he helped so much.
In that case, allow me to try some.
Melts his tongue right out of his mouth.
Blind.
Blind.
We have
a card for that.
Save, sir.
Hey.
26.
Whoa.
Pretty sure you feel absolutely nothing from the alcohol.
Oh, it seems pretty great to Ozash. It has not had time to mellow at all. Stuff the plants out, but I mean, Ozash is kind of in the Mirthig boat of like, oh yeah, that's the stuff right there.
This is very...
That's my rubbing
I'm getting
alcohol.
Hints of,
Does the whole.
I'm getting hints of rye and burning.
You're supposed to let it breathe, Ozash. It's choking. It's choking, and you're drinking
He's
it.
chugging whiskey like beer.
It's in my culture. What the heck can I say?
But with no sign of Hanwi at the moment,
is
the only
some
thing
fresh corn
really
liquor.
left to do is to help out around cleaning up camp as you can. Which is going to take pretty much exactly the rest of the day.
Well,
Worked out perfectly.
that's good because I need Ozash's help to finish up this song that I wrote for the tribe.
You're writing a song.
Well, yeah, I've been writing it for a while now to prepare for the Green Moon Day.
Very well. Come to my tent. I'll brew us some tea.
Thanks.
That's fine. Just leave me to do all the cleaning. I see how it is.
You know what, Verja? You've been so helpful today that I figured
I know. I
that.
squashed that bug right off your neck.
There was a bug?
Yeah, he hit me more than he hit the bug.
Is that why there's blood spatter on his back?
Yeah.
Look kind of a dark stain across Arm's back. But is it just Verja then? Verja, it's hardly a glamorous job organizing and cleaning everything up here. But I'm going to need either a crafting or a society check to work with the following and figure out what needs doing, or to kind of efficiently just organize odds and ends that seem like they're sort of low on the importance list to get everything ready.
Definitely crafting.
Fair
'cause
enough.
I don't have society.
I didn't expect any of you to.
I mean, technically I do.
14.
The 14, well, 14 will succeed on the crafting. Would have failed if it was society, but will succeed on the
Hey.
crafting.
Lesser?
So you gather up some small tool kits, some bundles of personal effects, odds and ends, little bits of extra supplies. tinder around for the starting. Even the mightiest of bonfires begins with a spark. And you find an odd object throughout your investigations that nobody seems to lay claim to. It is a almost squared, about 2-inch around, dark gray stone, which, while rough on the backside, it's quite thin, only about a 1/2 inch deep. It doesn't so much look like it's been sheared as the face of it is just like a perfectly polished, rounded edges, rounded corners, perfectly squared surface. It's very matte. It's not terribly reflective.
It's a rock.
It's a rock that looks like it has a purpose.
Let's go to the rock specialist.
Yes!
The rock specialist will be able to tell you that that is a blank Rune Stone. And no, he doesn't know whose it is. It's not his.
Huh. What's a rune stone?
Well, it's a thing that holds those little magic sigils. Your friend, the song singer. What he does his magic with? You store him in those, my understanding.
Oh, it's magic stones, not rune. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not really sure. Like I said, it's not mine.
I'll go ask the song singer who it might belong to.
I mean, what I mean is, like, in this 2 hours you're doing this, you can't find anyone. Like, nobody lays claim to this. This appears to just be up for grabs.
Pocket.
This is mine now.
We'll figure that out later.
Well, you can't litter.
Yeah,
So.
it's gotta. We can't leave anything behind at the camp here. It's gotta
Nope.
be nice and fresh for next year's green.
That's
Moon
it. That's
ceremony.
it.
But with all of that behind you, all the preparations as ready as they are, Hanwi would return right as the rest of the camp is all gathering around the remnants of what was once the great bonfire at the middle of your grounds here. Now, still relatively wide, but much lower fire in the center of this ring of ash and old coals. A large pot with remnants of the previous evening's stews, available for everyone to fill their bellies before the grand march all the way out to Rockloom for the entire following begins. During this meal, this is sort of, there's not like an official procedure to this, no one's handing out itineraries or anything, but this is kind of the beginning of the Green Moon ceremony itself, though there are still hours of daylight left, and you will arrive in Rockloom with an hour or two left of the day, and things not truly begin until the sun sets. This is sort of the dawning of the festivities. Everyone is in high spirits. Everyone is excited for spring. As nice as being settled down in this temporary camp has been, the Tusks are more than ready to get back underway and continue their journey, as is much of the herd and many of the mammoths, whose natural instincts have more and more been starting to kind of pull them out to this journey to the east. As everyone is doled their meals, Harik begins a story. She is the leader of the song singers. It is a tale told of plain words. There is no melody, there is no tune. It is, even for her general retelling, a somewhat muted story, something to set the theme. And she begins her tale of the first winter. Long ago, in the time before the Tusks, in the time before the snow and the mammoths and the herds, in the time before the world was seeded with the very essence of life itself, there was the unending cold of the eternal winter. It was the time before time. The whole world was coated in an ashen white, that shared by the moon above, that graces so many of the night skies. But life, as it spread its tendrils throughout the world, as the roots began to emerge and as some of the snows melted and thawed, as spring first came to these lands, it was a sight so beautiful, one so pure, it brought tears to the eyes of the moon itself. And in her joy, she gave birth to a river of stars, visible still in the night sky throughout our eastward journeys of the spring. And you would all know that as ridiculous as like this myth sounds, it is like a visible constellation she refers to. One that on the night of the green moon is a sinking string of 4 stars that seem to trail out from the side of the moon itself, as if drooping down to the earth below, hoping as well to partake in the festivities and the coming of spring.
Arm 100% buys it literally.
And this constellation would be called Moontail. It would be one that very much has a name that you would all be incredibly familiar with, regardless of your level of astronomical studies here. And it's visible from the early spring until late autumn. And then winter, it dips below the horizon completely out of view. One of the hallmarks of the green moon is it being back up aligned with the moon itself in the sky. And as she continues to tell the tale, this moon tale, brought as if heralded by the birth of life upon the world, bringing in with it the spring, the green, the herds, everything that we rely on for our daily existence, for our travels, everything Sister Cinder has provided through us, for us through this celestial birth, is, like us, far from invincible. Even the very stars themselves have fears. They have lives that may someday end. So the moon protects her children during the cold winters. She shields them below the horizon to hide them from the snows and the wind and the biting frost, to keep them safe and warm in her heart until the spring returns. The night of the green moon, the beginning of spring, the beginning of not just our migrations, but as the tundras thaw to reveal the green grasses and the moon uncovers her children from the horizon. And she looks over towards Ozash and sort of just like steps back from her space in the living room.
Ozash bows and kindly takes the stand. And he has his shield and axe. As per tradition, he starts beating it like a drum. Starts with a low.
And you would have many of the following with you, hitting their hands in unison on the dirt near them. Spoons on the side of bone and wooden bowls, whatever they have in this rhythm.
And he starts with his low, like, oh, and then he begins singing the the very interesting tale of the 5, young Otter House adventurers, or scouts, I mean, that have, about their incredible journey of a large, fearsome moose and very fickle water fae that they had to unaptly deal with, the burning flesh that they had to endure. He just goes on. He stretches things out a little bit as best as he can, but he tries to put it in his best performance as
he makes the recap video for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, he makes
Right there in front of everybody, he cuts and edits the whole
Open Sony Vegas and starts dragging things into the timeline. Yeah, give me a performance check.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a 17.
That is pretty solid. And as you conclude your
He's been
story,
practicing.
this is not a culture or a situation where like everyone is applauding. It's not that sort of thing. But you can tell the Tusks very much enjoy your story. Many of the Firekeepers, as they eat this meal and finish their preparations, are very much watching. You have the eyes of Nocta, of Murthig, of Wotan in rapt attention. And as you finish this and step away, Harik comes to you, and her arms outstretched for a hug.
He gladly, goes for a hug and carefully, because I'm pretty sure Ozash is very large compared to her.
My child, it was wonderful.
Thank
You have taken so well to your teachings.
I had a
You have been the greatest apprentice that an old woman could ever have dreamed of having. You have done me proud. My heart's full, Ozash.
She's drunk.
You do me a great honor. You are a wonderful teacher and mentor.
There are none more deserving of the title of Tusk this hour than you and your friends, if the tales you tell are even half truths, if there are even more of a seed of reality.
Well, we are pretty cool.
Well, I definitely was telling the truth at more than halfway there, that's for sure. But either way, thank you. Yes, thank you. We shall commence the ceremony and feast and have drink later, I suppose.
And as the feasting and the drinking of these spirits, having at least had a couple of hours to mellow,
Clearly not enough.
kind of watered down a bit, are spread throughout.
This is just water.
It is a plain and simple meal, but it is a great one. It is one of the few times in the following that you consume until you are done, until there is no more want in your body, until your stomach cries out for mercy.
So an average trip to BQ.
An average trip to the pizza buffet. It's a good day. Because normally, though you are not exactly left greatly wanting, you have what you have. But this is an evening of great feasting. Readied as everyone can be, the party, the Tusks, the whole following, herds and all, join together to begin the march towards Rockloom. And there, I think we will take our midstream break.
It's good because we're all full. You know what that
I'll
means.
Walk off all this meat stew real quick. We will return in a couple of minutes, everybody. Get some snacks, stretch your legs, don't go too far because when we come back, the Green Moon Festival is upon us.
It's gonna be great.
It is the night when we all become Tusks well and true.
And we give Ipecac to
And it's gonna be great.
Barfin.
And everything is gonna go as expected, and it'll just be a wonderful experience
No,
for
it's going to
everyone.
go exactly how I expected.
Because that's what we write Pathfinder campaigns about, is everyone just going to a party and having a good time.
I want
It's
to
just
have
a
a
big
good
role-play
time.
section. There's actually no bestiary in the back or anything.
Yeah,
No,
There's no
this is
stats in the whole
the
book.
story of you guys having a great,
You know what? To
great
be
series of
fair,
ceremonial
there
rites.
have been things like that back.
Ockerville and Age of Ashes 2 was an entire level with 0 combat.
we
it was.
just danced and
This
had
is
fun.
probably also that. We probably fought enough stuff to be level 2. This is just, ceremonial at this point.
Yeah.
War for the crown.
War for the crown as well. We'll be
Most
back in a
of
couple
that
of minutes,
was
everyone.
Roleplay.
Stay tuned.
Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. We got a second half of a session to do. We've got a festival to attend to, and as we come back in here, the group of Tusks has arrived at the Rockloom ritual site. There is still about an hour until the sun sets, and the events, the official, the ceremonial proceedings, don't really begin until the sun dips below the horizon. So for now, it's preparation. Many of the members of the Muskox house are building the bones of a great bonfire, seemingly right in the center where these massive standing stones, all these animals, your repaired raven amongst them, all can witness this glorious fire. And many of the other members of the following are gathered around in small groups, already either singing or dancing, or still setting up more of what is left of this stew and a couple of pots scattered around. This is an absolute evening of festivities to do as one pleases. Tomorrow, you will deal with the consequences when you have to walk all day. But until then,
That's a problem for future.
that's a problem for future me. We've got several of these caskets of these incredible spirits spread around, and the entire following, Mammoth Lords included, we are all as one. During the night of the Green Moon, there's never any massive hierarchy to the group of you. You have your Mammoth Lords who kind of control each house and are the ones who just sort of keep things functioning, keep things rolling. But there is no military chain of command or anything here, far from it. While Merthig is busy dealing with the fire, Wotan and Nakta and Harik are all just amongst the following themselves, enjoying themselves as any other would be. Even Grandfather Sven, as he stands tall over near the stacked wood frame of the bonfire itself, is simply enjoying the time, the smile having returned now to his face as you arrive at this ritual site here. the group of you, what do you do? There's an hour left till sundown, but this is your thing. Do you have any preparations? Do you have any thoughts? What would you be doing? What are you thinking? We'll start with Hanwi here.
Well, Hanwi is, I suppose, she's going to take this opportunity to do something she doesn't normally do. She's going to go socialize for a bit. She'll be talking to people, this is kind of her night, and this is kind of a big thing of her becoming an official, full-fledged member of the Tusks. She's going to go talk to the people who've basically hosted her for a number of years now, and just go have a good time and talk to people.
And there is a lot going on here. There are drums, there is singing spread throughout a bunch of different groups here. It is a loud and boisterous environment, very conducive to that. Certainly, everyone's spirits are high, and, well, with the literal spirits inside them, everyone's super open. Ozash, what are you doing?
Well, because it is a festival and I have to hold on to my title proudly, I decided to go into a small corner and go sing songs and stories towards the younglings in the corner.
Oh.
I occasionally if they get a little rowdy as I'm, in between beating of the drums, I, just take some risks.
He's got his mug over there by the kitty circle. He gets a good
Allow
hits.
me to tell you the story of how my friend got melted by a goose.
Every kindergarten teacher ever. Aram.
Aram is going to try to find a way to get an herb into Bartham's drink that will make him poop all day tomorrow when we are traveling.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll make it everybody's problem. That sounds fun. Fair enough. Well, as you spending some time rooting around trying to find something, Barthan has got his spear here on absolutely prominent display as he is just showing it off to a bunch of different people throughout the area. You see him currently actually with Wotan, Harik's husband, showing him this mighty spear he has found from the river. He has claimed for himself from Wotan's house, from you guys. You note that the banner, obviously the freaking severed body parts aren't there, but like the banner has been entirely removed as well, though the attachments and the coupling that it had hung by, the rope that had bound it to the spear is still in place. It doesn't look to you like you really wanted to get rid of it, but
Grandpa said so.
Grandpa probably told him to take.
Could you please take the Nazi flag off the spear?
Whoa. Whoa. That
So how about you,
Vichy.
Verja?
A mix of, he's got the magic stone that's no one has really explained to him.
Do you have your Rune Stone? Okay.
He was told it was for holding and using magic stones. He was not told that there's not currently one in it.
Okay.
So he's playing with it.
Basically an empty beer can.
I love this. Okay.
Not really sure what to do with it. Just kind of looking at it, flipping it around, maybe going around and like holding it up to the statues and stuff. And the whole time,
Baby Rock, Mommy's here.
it's like, is magic stone big stones? And the whole time, he's still a little concerned about the other burning tusks,
Burning Mammoths.
burning mammoths, sending people to disrupt the ritual or maybe break the stones. Already had a stone broken.
Speaking of, as you're holding a rock up to the bear monolith here, you see Henry just kind of waddle up out of the side of your vision. What are you doing?
I've got the Rune Stone, and you said it was magic,
Is
and
this how you get the spirits on the rocks? Is this where they came from?
that might be what this stone does. You said it was magic. I've never seen one before.
I haven't either. It's a very interesting rock. It's definitely a rock. Can I see?
See if you can get those spirits in the stone.
He takes the rock. This isn't a rock. You can't move it. It's hard. Rocks aren't hard. You can pose rocks however you want. Even the spirit rocks, like these giant things.
It's not a rock?
Ew.
Does it taste like a rock?
Tastes like a rock. Feels like a rock. It looks like a rock.
Must be a duck.
Hands it back to his big, wet, like, across the flat face of it. Tastes like magic. Is it a magic rock?
Yeah, it's a Rune Stone rock. You told me that yesterday.
It would not have been Henry that told you that. It would have been. Oh, did you mean Henry? Is that what you meant? when you
Yeah.
said the
Henry's
rock
the stone
guy?
expert.
Oh, I literally just thought you meant like whoever was gathering.
No.
up all, like,
No,
the stuff
the
to
expert of
bonfire. Okay, well then yeah, he was.
I noticed you used a different voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that no idea you meant Henry.
Our local rock expert, the man who can literally.
Yeah.
Insert
don't know.
sound here.
Do you think? Wait, do you think that is the thing maybe that holds the spirits, that moves them around? If you take a spirit from one of these to somewhere else, or from wherever else to one of these, do you think that rock is like
It could be.
it's like a mount for spirits? They ride it.
You might be onto something.
How do we know? Did you get anything when you were holding it up to this bear?
My arms felt a little numb.
Keep doing it. I think something's happening.
Please tell me I see this.
Virgin
Please
and
tell
Henry
me
are
I
just
see
sitting
this.
there, holding his rock over this
All right,
blank
no.
rune stone up to the monolith
All right.
together.
I am going to try to sneak up and get over the stone and scare the heck out of them as I kind of go right over and go, boo!
Stealth.
Give me a stealth roll. What's your perception DC, Virgin?
16.
16. These are really bad at
Is
this. Look at that tray turned into a trampoline.
I mean, I never had the problem when I rolled in it, but
That tray hates us. It's gonna be a 16.
Beats it.
So you are just barely sneaky enough to stay out of Verge's vision. He's kind of focused on this, and you see Henry sitting there looking back and forth between his rune stone and the big pillar.
You see, Arum's face slowly intercede above the rock. Hi.
Is this what the Rune Stone does?
Do you feel any spirits up there?
What? What do you...
I don't know. We're using this weird spirit communing rock. These
What do
stones
you-
have spirits in them.
What are you talking about?
The rock.
What about...
Toss it up to you.
Catch it?
Vergeson found it.
That's not...
Verja Scalda. Close.
Verge what now?
Scalda.
No, thank you.
Verja Virginson. We'll go with that.
As you're looking over the runestone, Hanwi, as you're making your way around, Urgula would find her way into you. Her steps at this point, after a couple hours of walking to Rockloom, like very laborious. And she would make her way over. Both of her hands on her stomach, her shoulders kind of rolled down, but a smile on her face. Hanwi,
Oh, goodness, Rigla, you should be laying down.
as the night of the green moon. If Sister Cinder sees fit to bless me today, so be it. Besides, I could not exactly roll my way from the campgrounds, could I?
Well, of course, but now that you're here, surely we can set something up for you.
I can't be too far from the fire. I need to be front and center for all of my favorite talented young scouts. I'm not going to miss this. Are you kidding me?
Of course not, no. Well,
Do you know how much of my life I have put into teaching most of your friends? And you too, but
a number of years, but and
all of them. All of their years.
well, that's true.
Most of them. Anyway, I suppose I was not taking infants out Well, you know, there
You
was this
were,
one time with a
actually.
Wolpertinger.
You should tell me about it.
Oh, it's not a terribly interesting story.
Oh, I'm sure Ozosh could make it interesting. Did
No,
you
I'm-
hear what he did with the other one?
I'm sure he could.
It was practically a dragon that came out of that river and accosted us.
Well, he would hear you tell this tribe. I'm sure, tell these tales. I'm sure the group of you could take down an entire herd of mammoths unassisted.
Well, let's hope we don't have to prove it.
With nothing but pointy sticks and rocks.
Well, you did bring an infant out on the last hunt. Don't forget. You carried him the entire way.
Not quite an infant yet, but I suppose you are true. Okay.
You work very hard, Arugula. We all appreciate it and we all love it. But I think it's time for you to take some time for yourself. A place of prominence by the fire where you can stay warm and keep an eye on everything, of course. I'm sure
Yes.
you wouldn't have it any other way.
Somewhere that I will be able to see when the grandfather comes out to, well, I'm not missing any of this. Your pendants, I have seen them.
All right.
And I want to see them borne by you and your friends.
You're very sweet.
And Barthen. As the group of you I know don't enjoy his presence, I thank you for putting up with him all these years.
He's a bit of a bore, but
he's
good at what he does.
I don't know really. They don't know what to make of him. I mean, obviously, I've never. You should see the disputes me and my sister got into growing up. But I've never seen someone so, I don't know, hostile. Not in the Tusks anyway, not here.
He feels like he has to prove himself constantly. It must be very difficult.
I think he maybe feels like he has to fill his father's shoes. I mean, the grandfather Sven had to raise his child and then his child's child. I wasn't, well, never mind. Tonight is a night of festivities, of excitement, happiness, of tusks, of new tusks.
Of course. But first, we're going to put you right by that fire in the best place. I won't
Fine.
hear anything
Oh.
more of it. This way.
You better have this much enthusiasm for taking care of me when I'm old, Hanwi. This better carry on for 40, 50 more winters.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, you, me, and those twins you're bearing are certainly going to be perfectly
Oh,
fine.
you too? Okay. And you take Weepa over, and she gets a good space over on the side, which will be a clear view of the area behind the bonfire, between the fire itself and the stones of Rockloom, where this is all going to begin. And around this point, as you all engage, you all partake, you all enjoy your evenings, as the sun starts to crest down below the horizon, the light starts to fade through those oranges and those reds of the sunset. Merthig, a man that admittedly, of the Mammoth Lords of the following, is probably the one that you have the least cause to interact with usually. I mean, also true of Nocta when you're not going out getting punched by animals.
Which has been
very
happening more
strongly,
frequently.
Which is really just a really recent thing.
That's just our turn to get punching bagged.
I suppose.
Look, I've mostly been punched by Hen.
He is probably one of the most distinctive members of the entire following. Merthig's the only dwarf in all of the Broken Tusks. But looking at him leads you to wonder how his folk ever lived in tunnels under the ground, if you believe those tales. Merthig he's 5 feet tall. He's taller than some of the humans in your tribe. And he would probably, very possibly, be the only dwarf many of you have ever seen, probably casting some doubt on their average stature that you may have heard from some other travelers. That's before you start to consider the mane of bright red hair erupting like lava out from the top of his head and just wild down across his shoulders, falling
Henry
in
must
thick
love him.
braids down the sides of his face, feeding into an equally massive beard.
Is this just Marshall's long lost uncle?
Yeah.
Because he fits the
Marshall's
description.
dead. Don't you put Henry on the
That's
screen.
Henry.
Get Henry off the screen.
It's Henry's lost father.
He has, as the Firekeeper now, He was once one of the great hunters of the following, and the scars of a lifetime of hardship and numerous difficult hunts cross the skin of his face nearly everywhere. It is fairly mangled, but his spirits, as long as you've ever known him, are the highest amongst the following. The Grandfather Sven is usually one to lead by example, a smile on his face. Merthig is never seen without this beaming grin. You've literally never seen him in what it looks like anything less than great spirits. And as he moves over to this bonfire, he has a torch in one hand, the one hand, because his other arm ends just above the elbow. Something that you would have known he would have lost in an incredibly dangerous
Taper
hunt.
a capture.
Yeah, dangerous taper encounter. Some years before any of you were born. And you also know that he is a huge fan. He finds it hilarious. Until like when he waves at that.
Yeah.
He thinks it's so funny.
Sounds like a great guy.
So he is just like
Giving him high fives with the.
absolutely would do it. He just thinks it's the funniest thing ever. Like it has not brought him down 1% to have lost one of his arms. Though it did help roll him into his new job as the firekeeper, because he has decided after that maybe not hunting anymore.
Yeah.
If I lose one more of those, I'm gonna have a really tough time.
Yeah.
Which is a thing he says pretty regularly. It's fine, I've still got this one. He takes the torch out to the bonfire as much of the festivities around the camp start to gather. People start really focusing their attention in here. This is the commencement of everything. And as he gets the kindling across the bottom lit, the base of this wood starts to pick up. The coals start to burn. By the time that the sun has dipped below the horizon and just the purple and orange light emanates up from the horizon, met by near blackness at the far end, licks of flame run up the full length of this frame. As Merthig makes his way around this, sticking his torch down into the coals, inspecting the fire from every angle, as he stalks around it almost like an animal. This glint off of his hair almost matched in color by the red vigor of the bonfire itself. He turns out to the group of the Tusks, which have now fallen near silent by this point as everyone sits and watches. This fire is good! And
Woo!
this would be something that there would be cheers spread throughout the audience too. This is the commencement. By the grace of Cinder's gift, fire! We know right from wrong. And we choose right!
Yeah.
And there's more cheers out from the following. The revelry as the silence, broken only by Merthig's proclamations, now erupts back into this happiness and joy.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, because
That's the rock loop.
I mean, honestly, roll initiative is never going to happen. I don't know why you're doing this.
But he turns around and continues to explain to the group of you. Fire! The first spark
Wow.
given to us by Umka's sacrifice.
Oh, hell and the devil.
The first spark given to us by Sister Cinder. The warmth in the night, in the darkness, and the harshest winters, always to be relied upon to keep our days bright and our bellies warm and full. The simplest and most pure of all her blessings. But, and he turns around and gestures to the baskets that the group of you had brought down from the Gornok River. And puts a hand on top of the lid of one of these baskets here. Salt, too, is their balance in all things. These, the ceremonial waters, life itself, the very essence of existence, of survival, here on these trackless trails. And he drags one of the baskets over towards the fire, places the lid on the ground next to it, using one foot and the one arm, tips over so it starts to spill a bit of it into a rim that has been dug around the bonfire, which shoots up curtains of steam around the bonfire itself, as the fire, of course, at this point is substantially more powerful than a small little stream of water that's just kind of running around its outside. And as this all poofs up into the end, this massive cloud before the standing stones of the ritual site itself. Though they may disagree sometimes, fire and water, they aren't always conducive to one another. They have their disagreements, as do we all. Water and fire are integral to our way of life, to all Tusks, to our very existence in these frozen lands. Indeed, the very winter itself, the ice that crusts the tundra, seals the soil. What is it but an excess of one and a lack of the other? And the summers, when all the beasts come, the snow's gone, and the water becomes difficult to find, soaked back into the ground, or ascended back into the sky as this very cloud. Balance, the nature of all things, the harmony which we must uphold. And he explains, as he continues on from this, the bonfire lit, the attention throughout the crowd has been kind of split back out. We're past the opening. There's still a decent amount of people listening to him, but it is more like the people around the fire that want to listen to Murthig kind of explain this balance of fire and water. Many people have gone back out to their conversations and it's spread out a little bit more. And this would go on for a couple more minutes before the preliminary rites to begin this are over. As the last of the light fades from overhead, this great bonfire, casting its flickering flames across the massive standing stones, the visages of all the animals to which the broken tusks are beholden in your four houses, and casting the shadows of your revelry throughout this circle. The time for celebrations begins. These stones glow orange, as does the face of Grandfather Sven, as he strides out before the fire. Standing tall, even in his old age, smile back on his face, to turn to address the Tusks as a whole. This light dancing across him as it is almost makes his wrinkled face look just a little bit more youthful. He stands for a moment as a hush falls over the assembly. Everyone waits. But then, in an instant, like thunder, ha! And the whole of the following in unison shouts back, ha!
Ah!
One unanimous cheer. It is a good night! The green moon has graced us with fair weather. The Gornok River has blessed us with water. And our scouts have honored us with fine food. Much of what would have been prepared around Rockloom would be the finer cuts of the moose that you had brought back from your initial adventure. These huge flanks laid out on flat stones to cook and to grill. Stews made from the softest bits of its fatty tissue and what would perhaps be an off-putting, almost gruel throughout much of the world, a delicacy up here to the broken tusks.
Moose loin.
And he continues, tonight we mark the moment that winter turns into spring. We also mark the transition from friend to follower. And Murthig comes up as one hand laden with a bunch of small tokens, seeming to be carved of black painted ivory, and cords looped over his arm, and holds them out as Grandfather Sven takes them all into his hands. Together, let us honor our newest Tusks. And he motions towards the group of you, Amka, and Barthen, as the following erupts into cheers and excitement. Amka's an axe now.
Here in spirit.
As you approach and turn back to see the cheering, excited faces of your entire following, Weepa on the closest end
Do you mean
ground.
Urgula?
Urgula sat on the ground, laid out, propped up with some more of these bundled cloths and furs. Huge grin on her face. Barthen, massive smirk, walking up, pushes past to be in the front of this. As he comes up and embraces his grandfather, Sven kind of staggers a bit, puts one arm around his grandson here. And Barthen turns to the crowd and raises a fist. Just kind of looks
You're
down
the only
rest of
one
you
clapping
guys.
out of everyone.
There are cheers from the following, but from you guys, it is kind of just him. And you see grandfather Sven turn, get a motion again off the other side, and hairy little face kind of poke out. Is this the thing? Is this?
Yeah.
It's the
yeah.
thing.
Come on, Hair.
Sort of
Henry.
totters out.
Oh.
Wow, there are a lot of you. He kind of sort of just like creeps like behind Verja a little bit out of sight.
Us, Henry.
on.
There's a lot of us. You're part of us now.
Yeah, your family.
Okay.
Give him the stone. It'll make him feel better.
Hand him the Rune Stone.
Grandfather Sven walks over as you handle the rock to him, and he takes it, just kind of holds it up to his chest. And he walks up to in front of Aram, and puts a hand up on your shoulder. State your name before the Tusks so that you may become one.
He'll draw his sword and put it into the ground, and then he'll kneel. Aram of Outer House.
Your respect is humbling, but unnecessary, Aram. Tonight, the focus is not I, it is you. Please, rise. And he takes one of these things, these small little pendants off of his hand. And you can see it as a small, like flat carved visage of an otter with a streak of black paint across one eye, carved out of old ivory and on a leather strap out long enough to hang around your neck. And he holds it out before you, and it's in a ritual that you probably would have seen once before at Urgula and Ponwaku's ceremony. You know exactly what to do. As you put it on, the grandfather turns out towards the audience again. Ha! And the whole of the Tusks before you repeat the call back to the 6, 7 of you, I guess, with Henry standing up there. And this old man's face cannot contain this beaming smile. What an impressive man you have grown into, Aram.
Thank you, grandfather.
And he takes another step forward towards Verja, and you as well. State your name before the Tusks, so that you may become one.
Verja Scalda of House Otter.
And hands you one of the pendants as well. Takes another step forward over towards Ozash. State your name before the Tusks, so that you may become one.
Ozash, the Sidra of Otter House.
I'll do this pendant. I admit, Ozash, your studies of magic in past years made me a degree of skeptical. I have not always been the most supportive, but none can doubt your power now and what you have accomplished.
I thank you, grandfather.
Next another step towards Hanwi. State your name before the Tusks, so you may become one.
Hanwi of Otter House.
The second to last pendant off, hands it to you. Whatever your origins, from wherever you hail, be it the moon or some other distant lands, You are as much a Tusk as any here, aren't we?
Thank you.
And he steps over to Barthen, puts his hand up on his shoulder and looks in his grandson's eyes and smiles. And Barthen kind of looks at him, smirk on his face. State your name before the Barthen! All here know it! Raises his fist again.
He's gonna poop tomorrow.
Holds out a hand. Holds out a hand towards Grandfather Sven. As smile on his face, kind of shakes his head.
I'm just gonna punch.
Takes the pendant and hands it to Barthen. He puts it over his head with this one hand, fist still raised in the air. Tonight is our night, Tusks! And Grandfather Sven nods.
I'll clap
Indeed.
a little bit.
My grandchild, this is truly your moment. Treasure it. It's well earned. And he has no more pendants among his arms, but he kind of like stands over and leans around to Henry, who's now at the end of this line, is sort of like halfway behind Barthen. And as he goes to sort of lean down to get close to his height, Barthen, aren't you forgetting something? Sarah looks up. Just glares at him. And kind of a hush comes on. Everyone's looking out towards Barthen now. It's time, grandfather, to announce your successor. Who will become leader of Falcon House?
Are you seriously doing this right now?
And there is some gasps and some murmurs throughout the audience here. And he throws a glance over your direction and looks back in Grandfather Sven's eyes. Sven's face, motionless, unbroken, no reaction. You have always been headstrong, Barthen, and hasty. Tonight is not yours alone. It is for all broken Tusks. If not now, when? And if not me, then who? Don't tell me you're actually mistaking these fools for true Tusks. Do you see us? And he looks over at Aram. What? Him? What option even is there?
Maybe when you learn some respect for your elders.
And Henry, what am I supposed to be doing?
You're doing great, Henry. Lift up the rock.
And Ira, Sven, staring up, his smile kind of faded now, a much sterner expression on his face. Just looking straight into Barthen's eyes, completely unshaken. And you can see, as much as he's trying to front, Barthen's, like, shaking. His face is flushed, visible, even in the red light of the fire. He is physically shaking. And you can see...
I'm gonna kind of move a little bit closer to being between him and my grandfather in case he decides to do something really stupid. I'm gonna make sure he does it to me instead of to him.
Scowl growing on his face, and he looks down as you come over, and you can almost see, like, his eyes are puffing up a little. Barthen's upset. Barthen is extremely upset. Sure, it's his fault, but... You'll be sorry. Aram, step back.
Maybe you should calm down a little.
Step back! This doesn't concern you. You're not a Falcon anymore.
I'll look at Grandfather Sven and I'll meet his eyes and I'll just nod a little, like letting him know that I'm here, but I'll step back.
He will blink and nod and just sort of wave his hand, motion you away, and turn back to Barthen's glare here. And as there's sort of stare down for a few moments, first thing to punctuate this near silence that has fallen over the group of you is a loud, oscillating cry. It's not from Barthen, It's not from Sven. It's from somewhere back behind the standing stones. And you see the light of a torch appear. Another, and another, and several more. And as Sven turns and looks past, Barthen turns around, and all of you turn and see this. Murmurs rustle through the following for a moment before you hear a scream of pain from the crowd of Tusks behind you, and a surge of monstrous faces erupt from the darkness behind the standing stones. Faces covered in blood-red, scarred markings, wielding spears with hate in their eyes, and from that moment, near everything else is a blur. Chaos breaks out through Rockland. Immediately, the mammoths, which the various mammoth lords have out onto the sides of the standing stones, are the closest thing to this and are set upon by a wave of these torch-bearing, spear-wielding, burning mammoths. And as they break into the crowd here and set upon their prey, you are some of the closest targets. But you hear a cry from behind you. You hear Urgula. And you turn around and look, and you see her face grit, and she doubles over and curls over on her side on the ground. No burning mammoths are near her. Nothing has struck her.
Oh, great. She's going into labor.
Nocta immediately sees what's happening, points out, gives a command to her mammoth, and runs over towards Weepa, facing the group of you. Come! Protect her!
Oh, absolutely. Immediately. Sword, shield out.
Axe and shield ready.
And Grandfather Iowa and Barthen turn around as the first these mammoths break the line. This hate in Barthen given an absolutely beautiful target.
He picked a bad day.
Oh, it was a bad day to try to jump Barthen as he turns around, pulls out this spear slung across his back, and decides it's a good opportunity for some venting. As you move, you see a couple of them move towards Henry and Grandfather Sven. Henry, who immediately, surprisingly, just ducks right under a spear, and you see him kind of reflexively, reach out, almost like a cartoonish chop towards the knees of one of the hunters running at him, which as he hits, buckles completely inward and drops the guy to the ground.
Get rocked.
So glad we didn't fight him.
This man carries rocks. No one wants to mess with his size.
He's the
If
master
he
boulder.
karate chops your knee is gone.
Grandfather
boulder lifter.
Sven is kind of knocked to the ground by a hunter that moves toward him. Well, as they go to raise his spear, Barthen just runs him through and physically picks him up and casts him back into the mammoth stone at the center of the thing. Him taking a defensive position over his grandfather, and the four of you moving a little bit back, a little east of the fire, setting up around Urgula. As all hell breaks loose, everybody roll me some initiative.
Ooh, somebody about to be Dumbo Toe Jam.
Definitely nobody is scouting here, so you get what you get.
Yes.
Might not have been scouting, but we were ready for something.
We were ready for something.
Well, Varsha,
21.
21. Aram,
25.
25.
Jeez.
Hanwi,
16.
16. And Ozash,
14.
14.
14's still not terrible.
As you take up your defensive positions here, your fears are confirmed, Aram. This stress of this moment, whatever is happening, has sent Urgula into labor. She is curled up on the ground, and Nocta is over her, acting as midwife as well as she can here. She turns to the group of you. Do what you must. Keep her safe, please. And you see, as you're sort of kind of at the front here, a group of 4 of these figures, torches raised up in one hand, clubs in the other, dressed and looking much like exactly like the pair of burning mammoth hunters you'd met the other day, charging through the line of the standing stones at Rockloom, your direction. Here are 4 lads.
Oh boy.
And they got a 19, which will put them smack in the middle. So, Aram, you are the first as you see them coming. There are many more than this, but these are the 4 you immediately see that appear to be coming your direction.
Aram will. Or how close are they to me?
Probably about 35 feet away.
Aram is going to hold. He would normally pull out his bow, but at this point, he's more in defend other mode. He's not going to drop his shield. And he doesn't want to move too far away from Urgula and open up a hole in their line. So I'm actually going to hold and just guard.
How about you, Verja?
Is readying an action to concentrate?
Readying an action is a concentrate and it takes 2 actions. You cannot ready things while you're raging
Okay.
without moment of clarity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hunt prey.
You can't do anything
That's
if you're
That's
delaying.
right. That's an action.
I will draw my sword and ready to hit the first one that comes close. This is protect the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
It's
Very
not time
much.
to be rushing into the enemy
Very
line,
much protect the pregnant lady.
but I will ready to strike the first one that comes within my reach.
And as they rush forward, the group charging in, descending upon you, they are going to crash into your lines here. One directly in front of, it was Ozosh on the end, one around to his flank, one in front, I can't tell, one in front of Hanwi and one in front of Verja. So Verja, you can take your swing at whichever of those 2 you choose,
The one going towards Hanwei.
okay?
This man might be dead. That's a 19 on the die, so 25.
25 will critically hit.
Okay.
You may not be raging, but I don't think it'll matter.
Well, I rolled a 2, so that's only going to be 10. That is very low on the dice.
10 is a solid hit, and as this guy rushes in, his momentum being carried up into your blade there, you get a solid blow. Hanwi, you see him descending on you. You see, what does she see?
Well,
He's not dead, but it's a huge hit.
Coming towards you. Look this way. Gotta pay attention.
Bats him and almost doubles him over, pulls his attention away from Hanwi, who he was bearing down on with his club in hand. Both of the 2 on the left flank here are going to be swinging on Verja,
Who's not raging, so
who is not
18
raging,
AC.
which is decently good for you. They did have to take 2 actions to close. So we have definitely one miss. The guy you just basically gutted, natural 1, as he just sort of defensively
Understandable.
swipes his club backwards. 25 on the other for a normal hit, I
Normal
believe.
hit.
And that club is going to catch you for 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
After they finish that, I'm gonna step in.
On the right side,
The other 2.
Ozosh, who has had the time to fall back to Urgula and not much else, is going to have 2 more of them descend upon him. Each of them taking a swing. Wow, I got like a 1 and a 17 on the last roll, and I got a 2 and a 20 on this roll.
Whoa.
So while you're busy fending off one of them, the other one catches you completely off guard with a big swing. And that club is going to clock you for, fortunately, not a high roll, so 8 points of bludgeoning damage. That is doubled. Pretty low damage roll. Works out.
He gets a
They got a low
little
roll
sidetracked there, and he's like,
Then Aram, you can come in here.
Aram sees them rush into Verja and Hanwi, and he immediately, his eyes glow and with hate, and he steps in to defend Hanwi. And he's going to take a swing at the one who attacked her, but first, that guy has hurt his prey.
Okay.
Order of operations. Pray, then kill.
Pray then kill,
That guy's got
just like a
10
priest.
damage on him. He's been a little slapped.
Quack, quack.
So that's going to be a 21.
21 will hit. This is the one in front of Hanwi, right? The one that Verja blapped you.
So he's dead.
That's going to be 8 points of damage.
Dead. Super dead. Between Verja's massive swing and your follow-up, he cannot take any more, and that one, defensive swipe useless, crumples to the ground before you.
And with his technique in flurrying, he's going to take another strike at one that's not his prey, so the one next to him.
Okay. So -5 because it's regular
5.
attack.
So that's going to be a 12.
12 is just swipe at him. So he's got a little bit of distance over here, dealing with Virgin. Don't really get a solid hit in, but Hanwi.
Hanwi is going to take a step back, get out of easy whack-in range.
And you've probably got Urgula and Nocta are maybe 15 feet behind you, so you have some space here. They're like at the bottom of the screen, maybe right off it.
Okay, perfect. Green Moon guides you both, and light from the moon will actually almost come down on Verja and Ozash in a column as you both get guidance.
Yee.
And that's my third action.
So that brings us around to Ozash.
He immediately roars at the one that hit him. And he screams out, Samoy-hiti! And his axe lights up on fire, and he's going to spell strike that guy. He is not happy about
There's a guy
this.
on the flank.
Oh.
I say that is a reroll.
Hey.
Nice.
That's
What the cards are for.
You look inflamed.
And your +1.
Much better. So that's +1, so that's 12 plus 19.
19 absolutely will connect.
Fire damage.
They're pretty lightly armored, and they're just rushing in. They don't have any shields or anything. They're throwing themselves at you.
That's probably helped my hit rate.
You want
I had a
to?
tough time
Yeah.
with tray rolling today.
You guys
Difficult tray
To
day.
be fair, we haven't missed the tray.
You have.
No.
If it
It
bounces
bounced
on the other side of the table, it's still a miss.
So that's going to be 9
It's a
damage.
ricochet.
9 points of damage.
That's
okay.
decent. And then with his, whatever, we'll find it later. And with his second action, he's going to immediately look at, or I'm sorry, his last action, I should say.
I got you.
Words are hard. Skuldrol Higva. He's going to shielding strike the same guy in front of him.
Okay.
Minus
Solid. It's a -10.
-10, but I still get the +1.
But you still get the plus. You do not get the +1, so it's
nah.
just a -10.
It's only good for
That's
one.
Oh, it's
attack,
only
yeah.
one attack.
Doesn't matter. You're gonna roll a 20, so
You
I
just
don't.
roll 20 at bonk.
It's irrelevant.
It
it's
rolled
a
a 19.
See, I told you.
so
What's the
That's
total?
going
You
to
might still hit
be. Huh?
What's the total? You might hit him.
Let's see. -10 +7, so that's going to be
16 hits him.
Nice.
He is going to get.
That's why you always go for it. Pathfinder 2e tactical knowledge. Always just swing three times. Don't do that.
Right? Oh, you're shield bashing him.
Yeah, I'm shield.
Oh, okay,
I'm shield,
never mind.
shield
Unless you're a
bossing.
magus.
Unless you're a magus, which could go nuts.
That's a solid 9 damage. 9 more damage.
He
So-
don't.
Your shield bashed it as much as your spell strike.
Yeah.
it's a D6 plus
He
4.
dead. What happened? What are you
So
doing?
after he just like cuts him and burns him after a first strike, he sees him stumble and he takes this opportunity to just go with his sparkling shield and it just decapitates his head. And then as the shield guides his arm back into defensive positions and for
And then he just absolutely topples backwards on the ground behind you and behind him in a fucking violent display.
just roll almost 20s.
As you look around
Told
after
you.
a round of combat here, you can see that the hunters, you're the hunters in training. Urgula is the head scouts in training, rather. Urgula is the leader of the scouts, but her twin sister Punwaku and several others still do the main business throughout the tribe's migrations throughout the years. All of the scouts and near all of the hunters have rushed up to the front lines with whatever they could find. Most of their hunting supplies packed and readied for the journey tomorrow to get back on the road. So some people are simply swinging torches. Some people are flinging rocks. Some people just fighting as they
Very
can with
disappointed in Grandfather Sven's preparations.
small fletching knives and daggers. But there are, because these hunting packs, like you don't have that many spears in the following. Like even if they were totally ready and had every spear out, you're dwarfed by the numbers of these burning mammoths. There's like 24 of them pour out from the back lines here. You can see that Grandfather Sven has fallen back to his mammoth, who is doing a pretty decent job of defending itself as it turns back to bow his head, using its tusk as a step to allow Grandfather Sven to mount. Murthig and Wotan have already rushed atop their steeds and are guiding their mammoths from their mounted position, just rampaging through, cutting through swaths of these encroaching burning mammoths as they arrive. And the hunters and the scouts are doing their best. But where there's not a mammoth on the front line, it's definitely more of a pitched battle. Verja.
A lot of friends are getting hurt. I think this justifies time to.
I literally
beat
don't
some
know
ass.
anything that could possibly justify raging more than this situation.
So,
You were getting attacked by an angry army
In the
who's
middle.
crashed your festival. Your pregnant boss best friend is giving birth immediately behind you.
so it's
Buddy's getting bonked.
tiny
You got
bit
bonked.
yeah, time to get just a tiny bit angry, and definitely gonna rage, and look at the one in front of me, and rather than taking a full swing, I'm going to, I guess, feint towards them, but not actually feinting, intimidating them, just bulking
Okay.
up in front of them.
Like your intimidation.
Bulking up.
I am bigger than you. I will
Flex
crush you.
on him.
Flex
bonk
on
him.
that man.
And that will only be. Is that a 6?
That's
It is a
six.
6.
Okay, that's only going to be an 11.
With an 11, regardless of the two foes you've already stricken down, this one in front of you does not seem phased.
You ain't seen me yet.
he is throwing himself fully into this.
All right then.
Better.
18.
18 will hit.
6.
Yep.
6. This dice has white lines on top of a white background.
Pick a different one.
I didn't choose this set.
Okay.
So 11.
11 just doesn't bring him
I need a
down.
12.
It is a huge hit that sends him reeling, but doesn't end him. As he, with not the greatest amount of self-preservation, but not literally zero, commences swinging back. The first smack of his club as he attempts to retaliate with his smaller, quicker weapon, just trying to get in under your huge blows, is going to be a 10. Absolutely not going to hit. He is very off balance from, losing 11/12 of his health in a single hit.
We shan't speak of that.
The second, literally lower. He is extremely on the back foot, and he is actually going to kind of swipe with a torch at you as he steps back away from this front line, putting just a tiny amount
Can
of
we be level
distance
2
away.
right now?
You went chasing.
Which
I have
has
no escape for level 2.
absolutely no chance of landing on you either. On the other side, this other burning mammoth has just seen Ozaj obliterate his friend and realize this is a problem. And it's going to redouble his efforts to attempt to bring you down. And first, he kind of smirks, and you get this weird... It's like a guttural grunting, like... And then he talks, and you realize he is so burnt across his face. His throat is so ruined. He can barely even speak at this point. You can't take us all. It sounds like a demon spitting in your face
Sounds
as
like
he
the Knoll.
swings
novel
this
that you
club
had.
down for a 24.
To hit? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. To intimidate is
Oh, intimidate. It's a 10 plus will.
19. 19 to intimidate.
Oh, yeah. That passes.
So you're frightened 1, and then he's going to bring his club down. I got to roll the intimidate. I can't just put all the flavor on it. Bringing the club down for a 25.
That's shield block. Shield is up for a reason.
All right, shield is up. He hits you for 4. You block it entirely.
He sees it, and he, despite being a little spooked by his, he just, no,
If anything, it inspires you to defend yourself.
no, I don't like this.
Stop.
as his wooden club thuds against Ozash's bone shield, he's going to do the same thing his ally did, just kind of sweeping with his torch as he steps back. Getting a little bit of difference in sweeping the torch at you for a 19.
Just sees it kind of coming. He's like, stop. I don't like what you're doing. Stop.
Aram.
It's hard to burn bone.
Arm's gonna step up and say, "Don't you touch my best friend."
To which one?
The one who's on you.
How's Ash will be fine.
He's doing pretty good so far.
He's doing great.
Goes out as a bit
And
scary.
as he does that, he'll mark him as his prey.
Okay.
And then he will bring Sluma down. Lightning strikes.
What is Sluma?
Sluma's my sword.
Oh, okay.
It's not actual lightning.
Well, I was like, we have not in fact covered. That is the first time that name has come out. Fair enough.
Third. But that's going to only be an 11.
Yeah. 11's not gonna land.
Almost.
But it's okay because he's going to bring it around again and take one more swing at him.
-3 on a Hunter's Flurry?
Minus
Yeah.
3 on a Hunter's Flurry.
Solid.
Step, mark, swing.
Step,
Hunter's
mark, flurry.
Hunter's
Flurry.
Flurry is one action swing
Oh,
twice.
yeah, because you marked them.
I marked that boy. That is a 19.
I
So
hope
that's
you
a
like
16,
losing all your
22.
22 definitely hits him. Definitely brings the man who has already been struck for 11/12 of his health down. So
That's
what,
max damage.
what do you hit him for?
That's 11.
Also 11 again. He is 22/12 dead at this point. So
So as a Sluma comes down, it will bisect him in half.
I think that's
And
what bisect means.
yeah.
That is true what bisect means. That is exactly what bisect
Nobody
means.
wants to play with you.
And half of his body
We
will
all do. That's why we show up. anyway.
will fall back, and Arm will actually get a surprised look on his face, like that was way more effective than he planned it to be.
Yeah, you like hack through this guy. He's falling out of the back. And he collapses in a pile for Hanwi's turn here.
So the momentum against our line here seems to have been spent, and Hanwi's going to kind of scan out into the rest of it. There's still a fair horde of these guys.
There's still a
pouring in.
decent amount. Your mammoths have mowed them down. More keep coming. At this point, you've probably seen 24 burning mammoths burst out from the darkness behind Rockloom. And they are engaging on near all fronts, all around the north side of this. The mammoths mostly up near the center, and your hunters and scouts fighting out on the fringes, trying to keep them from collapsing around the rest of the following who can't defend themselves as effectively, gathered up near the bonfire.
Okay, if we can. Okay, so Hami's going to kind of turn her attention away from this one guy. She's fairly certain that her 3 friends can handle him.
Turn back around, we're all on the ground.
Oh my god.
What happened?
Light of the moon, come to me. Form your power in my hands and become a storm. And as it, moonlight will shine on her and then condense into her cupped hands, and grow brighter and brighter until finally power starts crackling around this orb. And she will spend 3 actions to begin casting Horizon Thunder Sphere.
Baby, the nuclear cannon is going.
Kamehameha.
Oh, Zosh.
Yo, don't be running from me. He's coming right after him. Step up and
You get your spell strike back from your
Yes, I
shield
do.
strike, don't you?
And I'm gonna go each today. Frosty Axie time.
Aw.
Oh, that's
Fire was more effective.
fire. Well, apparently fire was more. That was an 11.
Boy's a little spooked now, and he's seen you blast his friend, and though he is still pressing, he is a little bit more,
Yeah.
cognizant of not getting hit
You
by the
ju-
axe that murdered his friend immediately.
Ozosh just kind of overshoots the strike just a little bit.
Verja.
Got him.
He's a little distracted dealing with Osash. And I'm angry. And you know what I see? A perfectly open flank. No. Like, quarterback run into his side.
Oh,
Check him.
And the sword is going to be the shoulder spear.
okay.
So move up and
Just run into him with all
run
the
into him
momentum
and
you can get.
piercing.
Oh! The
Man
dice
has
know.
been skewered.
Oh no!
That is a
I
natural
think he's
20.
enlivened at this point, but
And that's an 11.
11. So that's going
Oh,
to
no.
be 20 to
Yeah, he's-
28.
he's dead.
Yeah,
literally like,
He's feeling about a negative 16 out of 12 right now.
like a football tackle shoulder spear, but
You know
instead
that
of the
massive
shoulder,
damage rule?
it's the sword running through the entirety of his chest cavity.
And Ozosh, as you miss, you just see this man get absolutely speared, flung to the side, tumbling through the dirt.
As after this happens, he just kind of drops his axe for a second and looks at you. Every time. Why do you keep stealing my kills? Why? Why you do this?
He left it open.
I at least got it started.
I'm assuming that has not ceased everything else happening around us.
Everything else is definitely still happening. You've cleared out a little bit of space. These are the main ones because at this point, the Mammoth Lords have all gotten, if not on, to their mammoths, and have basically formed a large barricade of giant tusk and stompy death that is most of the ring inside these towering monoliths of rock loom itself. For a moment, as you look around, no more torches seem to emerge from the darkness. The mammoths are keeping the way decently clear, but the flanks are having a little bit of a problem, where you just have your men standing there fighting. Specifically, at the far western side of the area, behind Moose House, you can see the line is definitely starting to bow in again. The burning mammoths have made some degree of progress. Looking
My third
back,
action will be moving towards that then.
fair enough. Looking back at Nocta and Urgula on the ground, Nocta turns to you.
That's west, correct?
It's west, yeah. Good. Excellent. You have fought as true Tusks this day. Harik and Wotan, they will defend us. Go, help them. And points over towards the same direction that Verger's already sprinting off into.
I'm actually not going to move too much. I'm going to drop my sword and shield, and I'm going to pull out my bow.
And as she looks and she sees you got clonked and you got clonked, Verger, your third action got you a pretty good distance away, so she will look at Ozosh and turn one hand your direction, son of man, and cast out a wave of golden light towards you, which will heal you for it's plus 16. Why am I even rolling it?
I'm great.
Quickly throwing that onto you.
Someone over there is going to be designated as my prey, whoever the heck I can see.
Fair enough.
First target.
And this was the way the initiative actually was. Hanwi and Ozosh, what are you two doing?
Well, if they are certain that they are protected and fine, and I look at Artem, you got the backup?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Persia, save some for me.
Hanwi?
Well, Hanwi has a ball of very angry moonlight in her hand, so what's the biggest concentration of enemies within 60 feet of me?
It's probably that western flank there, I'd say.
Well, Hanwi actually will kind of raise about a few inches off the ground, and her eyes are actually blazing white, and the sphere of energy will be raised above her head, swelling into almost like a little miniature moon, and she's going to fling this thing across the encampment, arcing this brilliant white light before it strikes at something. I have to go roll an attack roll to hit one of these guys.
Oh, is it a hit? It's not a bunch of reflexes?
It's an attack, which, because I've charged it up, will then explode in an emanation, which creates a bunch of reflex saves.
fair enough. All right, maybe an attack roll. We'll see if you absolutely delete a guy from existence.
I prod 24.
Yeah.
24 will absolutely hit a guy. So this is going to directly hit a guy and then explode.
It'll directly hit one guy, and it's not like a
Yeah, but
ton of damage.
the damage
but
specifics are not relevant, but it's a huge blast of moonlight death.
Moonlight with arcing power. It's electric damage.
Oh, okay. Like surging crescents, I guess, erupting out from this throughout this crowd of burning mammoths here.
So now we have artillery.
You
She
have
will never
artillery.
give up on her friends.
So as but after that, are you going to move forward or are you staying here?
If the group are moving up, so they look. Well, that's my whole turn.
Yeah. They are. Oh, that's your whole turn. But I mean, then won't you be moving behind them?
Probably,
Because this is
yeah.
probably, you're looking at like 200 feet away.
Yeah.
On this western flank. It's going to
Okay.
be like three moves to get over there.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll put you, as you get there, you'll probably be like 60 feet behind the rest of the party.
Yeah, 60 feet behind the rest of the party is fine. I can do that.
And as you all rush over, you can see throughout these flanks, the eastern, I guess it would be the eastern, because 60 feet at the eastern flank, because they're just there.
Okay.
As you blow this up with Horizon Thunder Sphere, that starts to clear that side out decently well as your scouts really start winning this battle, but these torch-wielding raiders are still just like hacking and bludgeoning through everything they can reach. As you pass the bonfire and cross through the center of the camp here, you can see that the houses have started to direct much of the following to fall back. Many of the people that aren't fighting off are trying to retreat back towards the campground where everything is packed and prepared for the journey. You didn't carry all of that with you. The goal was the points of return from Rockloom later tonight before resting and leaving in the morning. And as people start to retreat and you pass through the middle, you see a dozen more tiny firelights arc up through the air
Knew it.
and descend into the fleeing crowds as they try to retreat south away from the ritual sites. Volleys of flaming arrows are loosed from further back in the darkness.
Damn it.
A full moon casts a pale and sickly light on the faces of these raiders as those near the fringes and those that have not brought lit torches but are still lurking in the edges of the darkness start to fling sacks of burning pitch across the monoliths and a little ways through them into the encampment towards the mammoths defending the group. A much more effective tactic than running at them with clubs and then dying. As you kind of, you can't focus on any part of this. There's so much happening. But as you look towards your angle, you run and you turn and look back. You see that one of these torch-wielding mammoths, or burning mammoths, has managed to mount one of your mammoths, which is ablaze. Grandfather Sven tumbled to the ground some 20 feet away, slowly picking himself back up to his feet as this burning mammoth raises this torch in the air, screaming with victory as the fur of this mammoth
That guy is
ignites
taking 2 arrows to the heart.
beneath him.
Blink, blink.
His war cry is eclipsed only by the screeches of pain from the mammoth itself. You want to give me 2 attack rolls? You can definitely take some shots at him.
Hunt prey.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
give you 2 shots.
What is with this dice tray? It's really not us.
You know
I
the
promise
definition
you
of
it is.
insanity is?
You suck.
Have you tried not rolling it like this? I think that usually works a little bit better.
I don't like you. That's gonna be a 16.
So 16, so you'd bury an arrow into him. Give me another attack roll.
It's -3. Oh, it's almost an
a
820.
So you catch him with an arrow, and like his mammoth is already trying to throw him off, and that hit would definitely knock him off from the mammoth, leaving this burning mammoth kind of just stampeding around wildly, swinging and flailing as the warrior that you knock off falls on the ground, and before he can right himself, this entire mammoth topples over onto its side on top of him, trying to quench the flames.
Dumbo toe jam.
As you approach the western flank here, you see another contingent of these raiders coming into the camp. But this one looks a little bit different. While most of the people around are just simply fighting with club and torch or spear and torch, this looks like a small, more well-knit group of warriors pushing in. Their leader boasting a large hide kite shield, holding her spear overhand as she pushes forward. And as you rush to engage, you see her use her shield to bash one of your hunters to the ground before running him through with her spear. And at this point, we will come back to initiative, as it is a pack of 5 more of these raiders out here.
I believe I was 22.
I was 25.
But you held, so I guess still 25.
Doesn't matter.
You
Whatever.
just-
You can go
you're
first.
You're 18 because you were after the enemies, which are 19. There's a couple more torchy clubby boys who are coming in with a 24. They are in there and they are excited. There are a couple wielding spears.
So are we going off of old initiative or?
Yes.
Okay, then I
We're
have
not-
25.
No, you're 18.
You
have an
delayed.
18.
Oh, that's it. I delayed.
Which will put them here. And then their leader with
which we need a
the
token for.
large shield. There we
I
go.
actually don't know how that affects initiative.
I was about to ask, would I be allowed to have a raised shield as I was rushing?
Absolutely, you can have your
Okay,
shield
cool.
raised up as you're
Thank
rushing
you.
over.
Because I am not dumb.
Is also going to get a 24. And so as you close in, check real quick because there are 3 different kinds of token now. That you have the 2 of one,
I
2 of
see.
the other, and
Yeah,
the
I
different
see.
one. Because there are a couple of the club torch guys that you just fought. There are a couple of these spear wielding fighters that look very similar to the hunters you met the other day at the Taper Grove, and there is the leader with the shield and the spear.
Okay. I think we got it.
So the leader, after stabbing this down Tusk, is going to see Ozosh and Verja. She is going to grin, 50-50, says left, and she is going to raise her shield and rush forward towards Verja. You two are just sprinting at each other because you're sprinting across this entire field here. And as she gets there, oh no, she's not going to raise her shield. She's just going to run forward and slam you. As she gets there, spear isn't even a thought. She kind of tucks it down the side, buckles her shoulder in, and runs in and just puts all her momentum behind slamming you with this thick hide shield. For a 21.
Not a crit. As
Not
a
a-
barbarian, that is what I aspire for.
Not a crit is the goal of the barbarian. And that shield, it does have a jagged bone spike erupting out from the middle of it that will cut through you as she slams you. And you are going to take 7 points of... I guess it's actually still... Shield boss is still bludgeoning damage. It's annoying. It hurts a lot, but you're
Okay.
mostly still just getting slammed. 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
I think it gives you the option for piercing.
I think spikes do piercing.
Spike?
Yeah,
it's
it's a
specifically
spike.
spikes.
I think I
Boss.
just misunderstood what a boss was. Flat bone knuckle thing that hits you instead. And as she slams you with the shield, crashing at you with all that weight, she uses that to stop her momentum and staggers back. The shield now up, her keeping it up from the strike she had just landed before she stabs out at you once with the spear. She did the thing.
Ooh. We got us another magus?
For a 14.
Not quite.
Sees the spear come in, kind of just deflects it off as quickly as he... Oh, was it towards him?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shields
I was
up
looking at
towards
you
go
because she
guard.
did the
Oh.
she did the hit and the shield's up now.
Oh.
She did your
My bad.
thing.
Heh, she's copying you.
The two, which ones are the club wieldy boys that were the same like us before?
Two closest.
The 2 closest up on the top.
Yep.
Those 2 are going to surge in, all but surrounding Verja here as they just follow their commander into the fray. I'll roll them separately because one of them's flanking, one of them isn't. So here is the one that is not flanking, who swings his club for a 25.
That'll hit.
And he swings his club for a natural 20. 2 of bonk. And the first hit is going to do 5 points of bludgeoning damage. The second hit, which is a crit, is going to do 16. As
That will put me down.
as he knocks you down with that strike, the 3 of them kind of gathering around you. The other one in the back is going to continue on a little further, his club up, and just bring it crashing down. Oh! He is... As you see them bring down Verja, they're almost overcome by like a bloodlust as they continue this attack. The commander is going to step over in front of Ozosh.
Out of initiative?
These are reactions.
Oh.
The flanking one is going to step over in front of Ozosh, and the third one, who just downed Verja, is going to charge Aram, though he is out of actions to swing with.
Gotcha.
Oh, this is great.
And then you have this club guy who gets 2 swings at a flanked Ozosh who has his shield up. First is an 18. Shield's up. That's good.
Yeah. No.
Second is like 9.
No.
Shield good.
Shield is good. Shield is friend.
So that would bring us to Aram.
Aram, seeing Verja go down, and seeing this guy rush him, is going to look at him and go, "You're mine," and quickly fire 2 arrows directly into him.
Into the commander?
No, into the guy rushing him.
Oh, the guy who's behind Ozosh now.
Yeah.
No, the guy in arms.
Rushing
Oh,
him.
rushing you.
Yeah.
You're rushing me, not rushing him. Your arm.
You said he was rushing me. I thought that was the
Yes,
only
you
person
said the
rushing.
guy rushing him. Say
Use
the
the
guy
third
rushing
Oh,
person.
sorry.
Yeah.
because
that was
your
my fault.
arm. So I was like the guy
I am a
rushing
person.
him. Yeah,
My bad. Sorry.
fair enough. Do you have a longbow, by the way? What are you shooting?
I am shooting a longbow.
Okay, you know you take a -2 to shoot
Yeah,
people.
I do know that. But the hunt
So I
prey
was
is
like, we
gonna
haven't come up whether it was a long or a short bow yet.
The
so
hunt
okay.
prey is gonna cancel it out though.
It will not.
I was like, I didn't think it did that, but fair enough. So you do have a -2 on basically every shot while
fine.
you're close to you. Because a longbow is like a war bow. This is like it's planted in the ground. It's as tall as you. You need huge draws. It's tough to shoot close.
That's only gonna be a 15.
So 15, you just can't. 15 actually will catch him.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is one of the little club guys.
So he.
Don't ever
will-
tell me the odds. The volley trait can't stop me because I can't read.
There you go.
Bam.
And he'll take 6 points of damage from that.
Ooh, solid hit.
A d6.
D8, it should be if it's a longbow. Do you have a D6 written down?
Steph, if it's a longbow, it's
Oh no, it's a d8.
Yeah.
Sorry. That
all
was,
the upsides of, or all the downsides of a longbow with all the downsides of a short bow.
Okay, well that's gonna be that's 7, so that's gonna be 7 points of damage.
Okay, so you hit him with a solid arrow for 7.
And second shot will definitely go wild.
Yeah, real quick shotting a longbow point blank sounds impossible.
But you know what? We did it anyway.
And you have one action though. This was your flurry, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna shoot him a third time because I really don't
Go
have
for
that
it.
much else to do.
Roll a 20.
It's what heroes do.
Big of gun.
That's still gonna go wide.
So 2 in the back here, didn't get to use their reaction because they hadn't activated yet, are going to kind of circle out around a little bit to the south, moving 20-25 feet out, a bit closer to Aram, still leaving like 20 feet between themselves and Ozosh, kind of ending up on this diagonal that's created by Ozosh and Aram here. And as they move, they are each going to let loose the spear in their hand, casting it towards, one towards each of you. One towards Ozosh for a 10, and tink, one towards Aram for a 12. And then draw out more spears from their pack.
How
That's okay, the low rolling had to come in at some point, because the first wave
Yeah.
rolled pretty good.
Yeah.
Hanwi.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh no, not version now. Me. Okay, so one stride. Hanwi's going to rush up. Light of the moon. One further away. Moonlight will kind of shine out of Verja's wounds, and again, the wound will almost seem to rewind in time as its stitches closed, almost erasing it. And that's a heal spell.
Whoa, we have those.
And again, I'm really bad at rolling those. You get 9 health back. Hopefully they don't max the damage on you.
Fuck.
And that's my action.
And then Ozosh.
You up yet? Very well.
I haven't had time to do anything. You can see movement now.
We have the thing. Well, I'm gonna turn around to the little guy that tried to hit me, and I'm just gonna give him good old-fashioned bonking with my axe. He just kind of overstretches, and he just whiffs right by his head.
You focused on the shield. You
focusing
blocked
on
a
the
lot of
shield.
stuff this round.
Yep. I'll go ahead and attempt a second swing on him. Much better. -5. That's a 13.
13 as you swing is just barely going to miss him as you're kind of really pressured by this shield, which is really not used as a defensive tool by this raider at all. It's used extremely aggressive with it.
Keeping my shield up. No.
No.
I don't like this.
And as you raise your shield, he throws all his weight in, now from standing, slamming out with his shield as hard as he can, just trying to crash through yours. She's trying to crash through yours with sheer muscle. There's going to be a 22.
Like, if he she struggles against me at first, but then she follows through and blocking as much of damage I can.
You're gonna take 6. So
take
you
1.
take 1. As
I
your
get a little
shield
scratch.
blocks, I mean, hitting shield with shield is not extremely effective.
Makes a lot of noise.
Well, yeah, it doesn't. There's a bang. You don't hear this slam as these two shields crash together.
That 1 point's probably just the impact your arm took.
And
Yeah,
she keeps it up, just holding this spear overhead, and then just continues just trying to thrust down into you, as your shields are kind of locked together here.
Oh,
For a 23, that's with the -5 for second attack.
Jeez. I mean, well, that pokes me.
And that poke is gonna do 9 points of piercing damage. And she's got one last action for the big -10. She's feeling confident. She rolled a 2, cause still feeling confident. It's okay, you can't win them all. Verja,
I'm awake.
you are awake, you're on the floor, and you can still hear this battle raging. Or you blacked out for a second there.
I am angry, but no longer mechanically angry.
Yes, because you went unconscious, so you are no longer raging, unfortunately.
But with me getting knocked down, it was this guy that did it, right?
That guy bonked the hell out
Yeah.
of you. Yeah, you definitely look around and recognize him right next to you.
those ankles.
He's got some nice angles.
Your cheeks coming out.
Is this Trishik's ancestor? Maybe?
I'm taking his ankles.
-2 for swinging prone. Go for it.
No, taking.
Oh, you're tripping him.
Yeah.
Oh, ankle bandit. All right, give me an athletics check.
Ankle bandit.
Still at a -2 because it's an attack.
That's only a 9.
Well, his
but,
reflex is probably not great, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. With that not working, regrip my weapon and just try to take his ankles.
Okay.
Remove them.
Yeah.
Remove them first,
I
then
tried-
you can take them easier.
Exactly. I tried to remove them so that I could then take
Dude.
them. Instead, I'm just going straight for the take.
It's Trishik now. 20 time. Wow.
Another 5. So you know what that does?
Betray.
Miss.
Yeah.
There's one action left.
No, regrip.
I'll regrip your weapon. All right. So.
This is
okay,
going
'cause
well.
you tried to one hand.
This is going great.
The 2 club peons are going to just have a good time clubbing. The one of them's flanking Ozosh here with his commander, and he is in relatively high spirits. He's gonna swing the club. He's gonna get a 26.
Not a crit.
Not a crit. Shield.
Oh, it's just barely not with flat-footed, huh? It's not a crit. Okay, so he's gonna bonk you for 7.
Oh, wait, already.
You already used it.
7.
Yep. So, Ozosh is looking very, very bloody right
He's gonna
now.
swing.
I'm out of heals, so.
He's gonna swing it again for 17.
Just misses.
You're what?
Should be 20 with a.
Yeah, 20 with the shield.
Flanked.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, he's
it's-
flanked. It's 18. Misses
Yeah,
by
misses
1.
by 1.
Misses you. You're lucky you brought a heavy shield. And then he is going to just simply bring it down a third time. He is in full
fishing.
berserker mode. He's swinging. 15 on the die, but that's not going to be enough to do it on swing the third. Meanwhile, over at Aram, this guy gets a big arrow from a longbow stuck through him, and staggering forward, still manages a big meaty overhead swing with this club. Which I'm going to re-roll.
Ooh.
Ooh, villain points.
2 of card. Because that's a 2. It did the thing you guys complained about so much. I'm like, come on, it's a die. It does what it does. Where it's like 22.
No, believe me, we feel your pain.
You have inspired me to re-roll, you fickle Norse Foundry die, you. 19. There's no conceivable way that misses, right?
Yeah.
Level 1.
It does not miss. So when you are hit by a physical attack and you have a shield within reach and a free hand, you interact to draw and wield the shield and then use it to shield block against the attack. It's not
Okay.
my AC's 20 now.
No, shield block is
Shield
damage
block.
reduction.
Yeah,
Damage reduction.
He's gonna
you
take
get-
-5 off the damage.
You
That's
can take
fine.
5 of the damage, yeah. Because you're on the longbow, because you're the
Yep.
one to shoot, so you use
That's
that
right.
freaking bullet.
I love my shield.
That's a card?
That's a card.
That's
I
a
was
sick card, actually.
I was so happy.
Dude, that's great.
Super great
My
card.
shield ends up back on the floor, but that's okay because that's where it
Wait,
was.
No,
Yep.
it doesn't. It stays in your hand.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it does. It literally knocks it out of your hands.
Oh.
You get one block and they slam it to the floor.
That's so crazy. All
Doesn't
right.
matter.
Really
Throw it up in
cool.
the way.
I'm
hero
happy
point
about
card.
it.
Throw the shield in the way.
Gonna do 5 damage.
Oh!
Blaps the shield out of your hand, smites it to the ground, but you take nothing. What a hit. Wonderful hasty block.
You're just like, watch this trick shot. Flip the
Flip
shield
the
up.
shield up. Bunk.
This man's mad now. But it's the kind of mad where he's just, tilted and not swinging well.
And not
that's
swinging
gonna be an 8. No, that's going to be a 6, followed by an 8. So he is tilted now. He can't believe what he just saw. Arum.
So Arum no longer cares that this man exists. Is actually going to step around and take a look at the boss.
Okay.
Like, you want to go here?
No, I don't want to go
What's the
anywhere.
step like diagonally out? So we've got
Yeah,
a
so
quick shot.
so I've got a good shot. He my prey now.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna take a shot with the longbow
With the -2 from the volley.
with the -2 from the volley.
some shots.
I'll do a shot. That's gonna be a 20.
20 will just hit him. He's got his shield up, but he's got it focused on Ozosh here. Or her. So you'll clip her shoulder as her shield is just not turned towards you.
Okay.
But now it is.
And she'll take max damage, 8.
Okay. Solid arrow.
And then another one will fly by. And it'll be a 1. He got very excited about the fact that he actually hit the guy.
You only thought you had another
I only
arrow.
thought I had another arrow. I grab air.
These 2 other hunters now near you, as you step out towards them, are both going to just lunge towards Arum with their new spears in hand. They could easily flank you, but their bloodlust seems to kind of overrun here, and they both just throw themselves at you, going more for the direct overpower approach than for any semblance of actual tactics. So the first is going to swing. Did it again. For a 9, 10, because I rolled a dose. And second swing, the first was absolutely just thrusting wildly into the wind. The spear's just poking around you, doesn't land at all. Second one, the good news, the RNG has swung back around for you guys. Okay, good news. Okay, maybe came back around again, 22.
That will hit.
No fancy shield tricks to get you through this one.
You get
No, but-
one stab for 4 points of piercing damage.
Arm will take it in the shoulder, but kind of shrug it off.
And then there's the Hanwi.
Things aren't going well, but you, and she's going to point at the one that's closest to her, and she's just lucky hasn't noticed her yet.
It's also the only one that's damaged. So like everything's coming up Milhouse.
That's fair enough. And
Well, the
so
commander is now.
guidance on herself, Moonlight will kind of rotate behind her and spotlight the enemy in front of her, and ice crystals will run down her arm before a beam of moonlight flashes out with a ray of frost.
Okay.
Ooh, I like it.
That's a 26
That's a crit.
You.
for
Be cold.
12 points of cold damage.
Yeah, dead. He's nice lethal. So this, what happens to him?
So the moonlight will kind of spotlight him, and then as Hanwi's second blast encompasses him, ice will just rime over his limbs until it kind of covers his shocked face, and he just kind of falls over stiff as a statue.
My hero.
I'm leaving one side of Arum at least a little safer for now. Ozosh.
Well, I was hoping I saved this. He just kind of raises his axe, and you see a kind of a vibrating energy emanating from his axe. Befosk! He's going to cast a shockwave towards this way and try and target the 3 little dudes. In a
Definitely also gonna hit Arum,
That's fine.
but
It's all good in the
just
neighborhood.
send it out
It's
everywhere, yeah.
reflex.
It's
Oh, he'll be
reflex.
fine.
He'll be
All right,
fine.
bunch of reflex saves.
Oh, whee!
So
Hey.
we know.
Put that one on the table.
Not gonna do it. Don't you?
Don't jinx it, man.
Don't jinx it, man.
We have the guy that is immediately behind you.
Ha!
He rolls a 21. No,
He-
18. 18.
18 passes.
And then I will roll the two
You gotta roll that DC.
Yeah.
spear wielders,
Problem of frontline casting.
who are like one off each other. 22 and 21. So I think
Oh, yeah,
everyone
they all-
regular succeeds.
They all regular succeed.
So they're all flat-footed.
17.
Yeah, you pass.
Flat-footed.
Yep. So
Everyone's flat-footed.
To him.
yeah, they're all just flat-footed.
You're
So
flat-footed.
basically,
Oh,
what
okay.
happens? Basically, what happens? You see the energy emanating. He slams his axe into the ground, and it just trembles the earth just enough to make everyone a little unsettled. But upon that, he's going to use that momentum to use what little strength he has left to buckle his shield back up for pure defense, trying to stay alive.
As you stagger everyone behind you, the commander, pressing her advantage, the sneer across her face, pulls back and slams the shield into you one more time, thinking this is the time she's gonna batter right through that protection. She's gonna get a 24 to hit.
And with all that weight, Ozash finally just loses consciousness.
You got shield 24 to hit.
Shield
I didn't even
block.
24 damage.
Oh, 24. Yeah,
Shield block.
I'm at 1.
You got a shield block. If
She
it's
can roll
possible
low
she
enough.
can do low enough, you can
That's
eat
true.
it.
You
Well,
did
shield-
completely avoid one earlier.
Shield block.
Do it.
7.
Ah.
7
Yeah.
points of
Unfortunately,
damage.
she just slaps him just hard enough that it knocks Ozash out.
As you go down and her shield is up, rage in her eyes, she doesn't even appear to have noticed what's happening with Verge on the ground here. She is going to surge up to Arum with this kind of reactive speed as the spear wielder in the back rushes around, dashing towards Hanwi, looking for a softer target. And as this commander reaches Arum, she has her shield up in front of her. She runs. She does the same thing. Puts her whole weight into it and just batters outward with the shield at a -5.
Vinush protect.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 14.
Arum sees her coming and reacts by kind of like stepping backward to let the shield run past him.
And as you kind of step back a little bit, she just kind of hits air. One action left. The movement was a reaction, so one action left. She's gonna push one more time. Not a slam so much as she like braces with her spear against the back of the shield and shoves with all of her might, trying to force you down and away. It is an athletics check.
Against my fort DC.
Fort DC, and it's a minus a bunch.
Okay. Had you considered passivity?
9.
Womp womp.
Arum will just kind of stand there as like, and?
And you are and as she slams into you, she is going to throw you back 5 feet as you gloat there, getting blasted a little bit
Oh,
away.
good.
But it's just going to move you back 5 feet.
I like it. Free movement is my friend.
And her shield is down out of the way as she does this. She puts all of her weight into this, and her shield is down. She's pretty exposed. Verja. The only one who seems to have noticed you is the guy you're trying to swing at. He's definitely looking down your direction with confused hate.
The
And a club.
Trying from the ground has not worked too well. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up.
Fair enough.
And I don't have to readjust my grip.
You already
Because
got
I
it.
already did that. So he's flat-footed. Spears are flat-footed. Lady has shield down.
Yes.
I think to protect what is immediately in front of me, being Ozash and myself, I'm probably going to attack this guy.
That sounds reasonable. I would understand. He's flat-footed. He's a flat-footed, lightly armored.
That's
dude.
a net 20.
You can't keep getting away with it. I guess I've rolled like 2 20s in this fight, actually.
There's a
I'm not
reason
20.
why I cast that spell, kids.
Yeah, that's a 9, 12, 24.
He's super dead. Yeah, that's
That's twice his health.
absolutely stand up. You gotta stand up. Just obliterate him. One action left.
That was just like, let me try this for real. And
Just for
one action left. I'm going to intimidate the one attacking Hanwei.
Okay, fair enough. Give me an intimidate check.
Booga, booga, booga.
We What are you saying?
That's going to be an 8 as intimidating glare.
Oh, you're just
goes
looking at her?
unnoticed.
Yeah, she's looking that way.
I just cut this one in, like, completely down. I don't need words, just not looking.
For those of you keeping track at home, I have good news. These are dead.
Hey!
Nice.
Aram, that's club boys.
They have nicely pushed me 5 feet away. I'm going to continue moving back toward Hanwi. More toward Hanwi, yes.
Up next to her?
Yeah, up next to her.
Okay.
But as back as I kind of can because I'm trying to get to 30 feet.
What's your speed?
25.
You couldn't get out of 30 feet with one move. You're only 5 feet away from him.
25
5
plus
plus
5.
25 is 30. You couldn't get more than 30.
No, I don't
But
want to
no,
get...
she was pushed 5 back, so she's actually 10 feet away.
I'm
So
actually
she-
Well, that's
10
true.
feet
You
away.
could, max movement you could. So you get like a distance back behind Hanwi.
That would be what I would want
But
because now I'm not taking my penalty
Fair enough.
anymore. And I'm the guy is already my
that
prey.
works right there.
So I'm gonna take hunted shot. I'm gonna take
Shields down.
2 shots at him.
Arrows appear to be her weakness so far.
No, my only weakness.
Pointy sticks fired at high velocity.
Who would have thunk it? That's gonna be 14.
Yeah, 14 even with her shield down. She just kind of swipes the shield up, sort of haphazardly, just enough to deflect it.
And one more time. Yeah, just shooting wild.
Yeah,
All
one
of
action left.
Move,
then hunted shot.
then hunted shot. You go one action.
Fire again.
You can do it.
yeah, I will fire again. One more time.
For 20.
Fishing for 20.
I don't know. It's only -6.
Yeah,
Yes, that's 100 targets, not terrible.
No, that's fair.
that's a nat 20.
No. That's a 1.
Oh, it's roll better, not. Yeah, you're right.
And
it
you
is.
want it?
It's a
Hold
1.
on. You want to know why I knew that was a 1?
Because nobody got excited. We
No,
felt it
no,
in
because
the
my
air.
my dice logistics chat, I saw the 13 and I was like, that's not a 20.
Shut up.
I hate you.
Shut
So
up.
yeah, he's really not on it.
As they're firing,
If it would have been a 14, you'd be good.
I hate you.
one of these spear fighters is up to Hanwi now. And she is going to take her opportunity to start thrusting this spear. Like, your western flank at this point has collapsed. Much of your following has started to evacuate. These rains of arrows that are falling down the path behind are fired wildly. Many of them falling way off to the side of the path, starting some small fires. A few of them catching some of the fleeing tusks, but not much. It's just blanket fire. And as your flank is collapsing, so too is everybody save for some of the mammoth lords, which seem to have blunted most of the assault at this point. You don't see many more torches along the west and the north, as well as Nocta, who is still kneeled down over Urgula. Now only some like 45 feet away from you, as this fight is pressed all the way back to the central bonfire now. Thrusting down towards Hanwi with a 23.
So with a 23, Hanwi is going to almost flare with this residual moonlight, and will kind of roll with it almost sort of haphazardly. That's minimum damage.
Okay, 3. You take 3 points of piercing damage,
We like it.
but this knocks you down to the ground.
It does?
Yeah, you
Ah,
take
there they
minimum
are.
damage and fall prone.
Oh, that's what it says. Okay.
Yeah, it's the
That's what life
you're
is.
rolling with it.
Right, I
rolling
get it.
to the floor.
I get it.
But knocking you down, even with this glancing shot, sneer on her face, the mammoth pulls this tusk up and thrusts it down once more for 23, because I rolled 5 higher. So
Not a crit.
not a crit's what we're looking for. 5 points of piercing damage.
Does that take into account flat-footed?
It does. I'm 14 with a flat foot.
Woo!
Close.
Flying close to the sun here, my friend. And then a -1 on the third swing.
That's what we like.
Woo! She gets so excited and loses her grip on the spear. Hanwi.
Hanwi is, Hanwi's kind of hurt, but it's a little desperate right now. Hanwi's going to
Step behind me.
crawl away 5 feet, just kind of rolling on the ground, and then from the ground she'll bring her hands together, burn, and azure fire will pop into her hands and flare out towards the aggressor. A little panicky. It's 14.
14's not gonna hit.
Flatfoot.
Ooh, she's flat from the shockwave. 14 is gonna hit.
Woo!
Exactly.
I have a job.
Ah, I did it now.
Don't get too excited.
Nice great day.
I
That's
did it.
max.
I'm not blaming that. 8 points of fire damage.
All right, so this fire coalesces and bursts across this hunter as we move to. Oh, Ozosh is unconscious.
Yes.
So you are only dying 1, but I am going to need you to make me a death check, my friend.
This
I
is where
told you
20s
Frozen
happen.
Flame was going to be
14.
a little more lethal. All right, so you are stable. You're unconscious, but stable. It takes you dying 0, wounded 1, prone, unconscious. Top of the round here.
There's a lot of stats.
As you see some of the mammoth lords starting to circle around, the flaming mammoth of Grandfather Sven, several of the hunters that have fallen back have put out much of that. There's still some smoldering bits and a bit of fire running up its left flank. But it is going to stagger backwards as Grandfather Sven has pulled himself up. And he is going to take his spear and turn to this spearwoman here that's closest to Aram and Hanwi. And like clearly injured, doubled over. And Grandfather just pulls back and chucks it as he can. And he is going to get
30.
the 14.
Flat-footed.
Flat-footed! He's gonna hit her!
Dead.
The centenarian. This
And 100-year-old man picks up what might be the last kill of his life. As Grandfather Sven's spear catches this hunter and knocks her down, the spray of sparks and cinders into the side of the bonfire here. And then Sven drops down to his knees.
Grandfather!
You see him throw an arm over his abdomen. He fell, even just falling off a mammoth is probably a pretty decent hit. For a
Han, we
man
help
that
him.
old. You also hear the distance Nocta chanting that seems to be getting louder and louder. And you can see this golden light emanating out from her, almost like little fingers of fire, and this aura that is just starting to expand. And at this point, Hanwi and Aram are both within range of her bless spell that she is channeling. But we have the one here with the shield up. Verja has stood, smited down one person. This commander looks around, there's a lot going on here. She's got a lot to take in. She is going to throw her spear at Verja. For a 24.
That'll only hit.
Only hits good. And 11 points of damage, max roll.
Down he goes.
Down.
And a spear will knock
Dying
him down
two.
to dying 2 as she rushes over towards Aram. More just kind of, not sprinting, just walking. Shield at her side, reaches back, pulling out another spear from the sling as she approaches, walking just straight up to you, raising it. Just murder in her eyes. Brings us to Aram.
Aram sees his grandfather hurt, sees Verja go down.
Verja and Ojosh are both bleeding out on the
Both
ground right now.
bleeding on the
Well,
ground right now.
I'm fine.
Stable.
You
I don't know that.
Both bleeding out on the
Fair,
ground
yeah.
right now.
He really is going to focus on Hanwi, though. He really doesn't want this person getting anywhere near Hanwi. So he's still his prey, and he knows he's at a disadvantage doing it, but he's still going to fire 2 shots into this guy's face.
Point blank, let him out, let him rip. Shield's down. She's just stomping at you. She's going down for, at this point, what few burning mammoths are left are either kind of retreating back into the darkness. This commander and her small little cadre are the only ones that are marching and still really pressing this attack as some of the mammoth lords are
That is a
starting to
nat
wheel around.
20.
Oh, deadly longbow, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is deadly.
3d8.
It is. No, it's a deadly D10.
It's deadly d10?
Yes.
2d8 and a d10, okay.
Yeah.
Shield's not up, can't block it.
That's going to be 7, 4, that's 11. Is that?
You picked up the percentile die.
Yeah,
That's a
use
1.
a normal
It's a
D10.
1?
That
Okay,
was-
I'm
It's a
sorry.
regular d10.
use
That's a
the
percentile
normal.
die.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
10.
So that's going to be 21 points
She
of...
marches up, spear raised overhead, bearing down on Aram and Hanwi. Aram plants his bow, lets it go, and just thump right into her, and she just collapses down on the ground.
Don't get anywhere near my family.
At this, you have one back that's still kind of engaged with you on this western flank. Which is her
Do you want
commander
an
drop.
arrow? Do you want an arrow in the heart, or do you want to live another
Clearly
day?
very turning to sprint away.
Not gonna shoot.
And she is going to take her 3 move actions to sprint back towards the Burning Mammoth archers in the distance.
Stabilize.
Hanwi coming around to stabilize quickly Ozosh and Verja, making sure they're okay as the din of battle starts to fall a bit. With this retreat and much of your following now back on the path, the volleys of arrows fall silent for the moment. 1, a second, and 3 had sailed through the air like bright sparks to the sky. But as they stop and the lights visible past Rockloom dim, and snuffing their torches, attempting to hide in the cover of darkness here, you see a different light. A red haze. A wide glow on the horizon, like the rising sun.
What is that?
And wheeling his mammoth around in the front of the bonfire, raising a spear up overhead, Wotan addresses what few are left. Not in my long memory has such violence befallen us during what was intended to be a joyful celebration. My heart wilts with grief, and prays Sister Cinder gives us the strength to take up the fire and find bright righteousness in this dim hour. We must return to camp, gather our things, and depart as quickly as possible. And he points out towards this glowing light on the horizon that almost like the only difference between a sunrise and it is that its light does not carry out into the sky. It's just a red glow. The bulk of their force approaches. We must leave.
There are so many.
Where's grandfather?
And Sven is still there, kind of down on his knees, one hand on the ground, one hand around his abdomen. I'm here.
Please, somebody, get a healer.
I'm fine. Please, we must depart. I will not lose the Tusks for one man, especially not me. I can follow. And at the end of that, you hear another cry pierce the night. But this one, not a war cry, not a battle cry, not a cry of pain, not a cry of pain. The cry of a newborn child. Then a second. Then a third.
Oh my goodness.
Told you.
Zergala delivers her triplets under Nocta's watchful eye.
The sun, the moon, and the Holy Spirit.
The Tusks that are left gather as much as they can, sort of around Urgala here, trying to figure out what the heck to do at this point. We have to get to the camp, we have to get our things, and we have to go. Mm-hmm. That was just the vanguard. We cannot fight the Horde. That is going to be it for this week's episode of The Hook.
Urgala is a Chad-esque.
Quest for the Frozen Flame. 2 for 2 on the last couple episodes, and someone going down to at least dying 2 and getting into the spooky hole.
See, the problem is it's me. So because I'm down, someone else rolls the 20 for me.
As you look through and collect yourselves on your way back to the camp, you will find that despite the chaos, there are many injuries, there are many wounded, but not many fallen. Only 2 of the broken Tusks number were lost in the battle.
Sounds like we did a hell of a number on them.
which means you still have a great, strong following to take on the path. Grandfather Sven's mammoth, though burnt, half of its side blackened, is all right. It's good to travel, and with assistance, you're able to get Sven back to your camp as well.
Oh, good.
We won't be meeting next week, unfortunately, because it's PaizoCon. So
Where's my hero point?
you're gonna have to. Oh, you do have a hero point from.
Thank you, Blade Tagger.
Amazing shot. And we're gonna have to wait 2 weeks until we return to the aftermath.
Ooh, misdirected attack. Are you going to let them beat on you like that?
But that sounds fun.
Yeah.
When we return 2 weeks from today, if anything deserves a new level of power and experience for the party, I'd say that
Finally.
we'll return as level 2 combatants on the run from the burning mammoth horde.
That was hot.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. Though a sad moment, was, in a way, possibly the greatest victory it could have been.
What do our otter things do?
They're neat pendants.
They mark us as fully fledged members of the Broken Tusks.
They spawn lightning.
They spawn light.
Oh, cool.
Just
Good
not
night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your
night.
weekends. Enjoy your
Bye.
PaizoCon. See you in 2 weeks.